Good morning and welcome to Early Exchange with Blessing Aiche, Femi Ayodele, Sam Oruwoje, and Idahosa Osamanze.
It's a national orientation agency. It's, as far as I'm concerned, very idle and unprofessional.
If government says that subsidy is not in oil and government is not supposed to be paying subsidy in oil,
energy or whatever kind of off-grid solution we will be looking at.
Today we are conducting mining today. Solid minerals, as an example, is, in no disrespect to anybody, is abysmal. We definitely need improvements in those areas. Of course, there are infrastructural needs.
This is Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
it's another beautiful day. Thank God it's Friday, so we'll say here, it's Friday. Another opportunity has presented itself for us to look at issues related to business, finance, national development, and the economy. This is Early Exchange, and I am Femi Ayodele. As you know, that Early Exchange is all about shaping policy and advancing development. Today, we are set to give the best of programming. Today, we'll be looking at online dating. It's Friday. We just want to tone it down a little, in preparation for the weekend. Don't forget, this is your program. This implies that you can be part of the conversation by going on our social media platform, on our YouTube page, to share your view. Like I always say, let your voice be heard. It's your program. We hope that you spend the next 3 hours with us, because it's a 3-hour drive. It's morning cruise, and so we have to do it together for 3 hours. In order to make your day worthwhile, to make your day productive, all you just have to do is just stay with us for the next 3 hours, and we assure you we're going to give you value for your time. Now let's kick off the program with news update, and that will come forth after this short break. Stay with us.
My name is Dr. Rafiu Oladipo.
My name is Baba Jalal Repega.
I'm Reverend Juliet Benite.
I'm Godio Didi.
My name is Professor Oladokun Sulaiman Olarawaju.
Souq News is on the ground, loading.
Very enlightening, very educative, and entertaining.
Thank you to Souq News.
So I'm happy that Souq TV has come into existence.
I'm happy to be here in the Souq News.
I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and keep watching news that makes sense.
As Browning said, one's extension of one's reach should not exceed one's grasp, or what is heaven for. And I think Souq News is doing that.
Africa needs a voice of truth, and Souq News has become one of them. And get ready, get ready, get ready.
And keep watching.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. It's a place to be.
Keep watching.
My name is Olatunji Shoti Miri. I'm a performing artist and, television radio presenter and a university lecturer, Unilag. Keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Kenny Black, Africa's finest music comedian, and you're watching Souq News. If you're not watching Souq News, I pity you, but keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Timida Kolo, and you're watching Souq News. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Wisdom Oluwaseun Okoko, co-founder Orbit Africa Properties. I'm live at Souq News. Guys, keep watching Souq News for everything that concerns business, economy, politics, news. Souq News is your station.
Good morning and welcome to Early Exchange with Blessing Aiche, Femi Ayodele, Sam Oruwoje, and Idahosa Osamanze.
It's a national orientation agency. It's, as far as I'm concerned, very idle and unprofessional.
if government says that subsidy is not in oil and government is not supposed to be paying subsidy in oil,
Energy or whatever kind of off-grid solution we will be looking at.
Today we are conducting mining today. Solid minerals, as an example, is, in no disrespect to anybody, is abysmal. We definitely need improvements in those areas. Of course, there are infrastructural needs.
This is Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
Good morning and welcome to the morning news update on Souq News. I am Adesuwa Iromoseli. In the news, federal government establishes technical working group to transform consumer credit nationwide. Minister urges urgent repairs for seaport access roads to boost trade competitiveness. Angola officially exits OPEC to regain control over oil production targets. EU Finance Minister agrees on reform to ease fiscal rules. Welcome back. Remember to follow and engage with us on all our various social media platforms. We value your feedback. The Presidential Council on Industrial Revitalization has established a technical working group to formulate a framework to improve consumer credit nationwide. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Doris Uzoka Anite, speaking during the inaugural meeting of the Technical Working Group for Consumer Finance in Abuja, expressed concerns about the absence of a well-structured consumer credit system, citing it as a significant obstacle to financial inclusion and economic prosperity. He noted that an efficient consumer credit system is crucial for successful economies as it provides immediate access to credit. The group, comprised of members from key entities including the Central Bank of Nigeria, Federal Inland Revenue Service, among others, has set a 5-month timeline to achieve its objective. Moving on, the House of Representatives has called for the immediate enumeration and valuation of public assets in Nigeria, emphasizing the need for economic growth and accountability in governance. The motion, sponsored by Honorable Esosa Iyawe from Edo State, underscores the importance of valuing and managing assets, including real estate and government-owned companies, for purposes such as financial reporting, privatization and asset management. Honorable Hiyawe noted that understanding the value of public assets is crucial for assessing Nigeria's economic growth and development, and efficient management could generate significant revenue streams. The House urges the Ministry of Finance, Incorporated, and the Nigerian Institute of Estate Surveyors and Valuers to conduct a comprehensive enumeration and valuation of all public assets, publishing a detailed inventory in a register access to the public. And to the energy sector, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company (NNPC) Limited, Mele Kyari, has announced plans to leverage Nigeria's abundant gas resources to transform the country's power and industrial sector. Speaking in Abuja during the signing of a shareholders agreement between NNPC Limited, UTM Offshore and the Delta State government for the development of Nigeria's first floating liquefied natural gas facility, he emphasized the potential revolutionary impact on the nation within next 2 or 3 years. Kyari highlighted ongoing initiatives to introduce gas into the domestic market, stating that the necessary infrastructure is nearly ready. He expressed confidence that this move would have an immediate positive effect on the power sector, gas-based industries, and various associated values. The Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adegboyega Oyetola, has raised concerns about the deteriorating condition of access roads to Nigeria's seaport, causing importers and exporters to face high transportation costs, prolonged transit time, and increased accident risk. During his visit to the Minister of Works, Engineer David Umahi, he identified 15 roads in urgent need of attention, emphasizing that these roads collectively impede national economic growth, discourage foreign investment, and hinder the nation's international trade competitiveness. He appealed to the Minister of Works for an urgent comprehensive repair and maintenance program for all deteriorated roads leading to ports, including those at Lagos Port Complex, Tinkan Island Port, Calabar New Port, Delta Port, and One Port. And we move to the northwestern part of the country. In a move to enhance its internally generated revenue, Kebbi State Government, through the newly established Ministry of Digital Economy, has outlined plans to digitize both public and private sectors across the state. The State Commissioner for Digital Economy, Honorable Ibrahim M. Mohammed Diri, shared the details of these plans during an interview with journalists in his office in Beni Kebbi. According to him, his ministry has compiled a comprehensive blueprint which will be submitted to the governor for consideration and prompt approval to kickstart the digitization program. The initiative will initially focus on institutions and hospitals in key sectors such as health, higher education, agriculture, and entrepreneurship to elevate the state's economy. He also noted that over 500 small and medium enterprises have registered with the ministry to participate in the digitization program. We'll take a breather now and return with more stories right after the break. Stay with us.
I'm okay.
My name is Raymond Bola Brown.
Hi, my name is Fred Amata, and you are on to Souq News.
If you are watching this channel for the first time, make sure you continue to watch it because this is Souq News.
Shout out to Souq News. Actually, I don't know. I really enjoyed the little moment I spent with you, and I think with more of this.
Souq News. Here's the Souq News who had the courage to transcend a locked off camera and actually have a conversation with a human being. It's a pleasure, Souq News. Thank you very much.
Glad to know you're still with us. Away from Nigeria, Angola has officially declared its departure from the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, based on statements from the oil minister. This decision comes after the OPEC Plus oil producer group recently reduced Angola's oil output target to 1.11 million barrels per day. In response, Angola's oil minister conveyed a note of protest to OPEC expressing dissatisfaction with the decision. The OPEC governor of Angola, Estavo Pedro, previously voiced the country's discontent with its 2024 oil production target, stating that Angola does not intend to adhere to it. Still in Africa, the World Bank has granted Tanzania approval for 2 separate loans totaling approximately $1.14 billion to support the country's private sector, enhance its commercial capital, and address the impact of climate change. The first loan tranche, valued at $750 million and termed development policy financing, is intended to reform aimed at expediting business licensing processes and increase access to affordable credit to stimulate private sector growth. The second portion, amounting to $385 million, will be allocated to finance infrastructure projects and establish institutions to help Tanzania's commercial capital, Dar es Salaam, mitigate the effect of climate change. Nathan Belete, World Bank Country Director for Malawi, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Tanzania, noted the country's vulnerability to climate change. Away from Africa, we move to South America, where Brazil's central bank has revised its 2024 economic growth forecast, reducing it to 1.7% from the previous estimate of 1.8%, citing a decline in robust household consumption due to restrictive monetary policies. The bank's quarterly inflation report indicates a more optimistic outlook for 2024, with an upgraded growth forecast of 3%, up from the previous estimate of 2.9%. The adjustment reflects the bank's effort to navigate economic conditions and balance factors influencing household spending amid evolving monetary policy measures. And to Central Europe, Poland's newly elected government, led by Prime Minister Donald Tusk, has taken a public news channel off the air and dismissed executives from state media to restore impartiality. The move is part of Tusk's reform drive, following the pro-European Union coalition's assumption of power from the Nationalist Law and Justice Party. Critics argue that the previous government damaged judicial independence and turned state-owned media into a propaganda outlet. The dismissal at the state television, radio, and news agency followed a parliamentary resolution aimed at restoring public media impartiality. While Tusk's government plans to create stations with a more balanced approach to public service broadcasting, the former ruling party, PIS, strongly opposes the change. European Union Finance Minister has reached an agreement on the latest reform of the bloc's fiscal rule, easing restrictions on public debt reduction and encouraging public investments during budget consolidation. The reform responds to record-high national debt levels resulting from pandemic recovery programs and the need for increased spending on climate, industrial policies and security goals. Dutch France Minister Green Kaj stated that the agreement provides fiscal rules promoting reforms, allowing room for investments tailored to each member state's situation. The new rule set minimum requirements for average deficit and debt reduction, with a focus on flexibility, marking a win for southern countries led by France. The agreement, subject to negotiation with the European Parliament, aims to strike a balance between the frugal camp led by Germany and the southern countries. And finally, Britain's financial watchdog, the Financial Conduct Authority, FCA, has proposed a major overhaul of the country's listing rule, aiming to simplify and expedite company listings in the biggest shakeup in 3 decades. The proposal involves merging the premium and standard listings on the London Stock Exchange under a unified set of criteria for a commercial company listing, with an emphasis on attracting more initial public offerings and enhancing London's competitiveness against global financial centers. The FCA suggests relying more on company disclosure, transferring more risk from IPOs to investors, and streamlining the approval process for corporate transactions. The proposed changes are part of the UK's effort to boost growth, attract investment, and compete globally, especially after Brexit. And that wraps up the morning news update right here on Souq News Today. Stay tuned for more analysis on early exchange. I'm Adesuwa Eramoseli. Thanks for watching.
My name is Olatunji Shoti Mirin. I'm a performing artist and, television radio presenter and a university lecturer, Unilag. Keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Kenny Black, Africa's finest music comedian, and you're watching Souq News. If you're not watching Souq News, I pity you. But keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Timmy Dakolo and you're watching Souq News. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Wisdom Oluwaseun Okoko, co-founder Orbit Africa Properties. I'm live at Souq News. Guys, keep watching Souq News. For everything that concerns business, economy, politics, news, Souq News is your station.
My name is Dr. Rafiu Oladipo.
My name is Baba Jalal Repega.
I'm Reverend Juliet Benite.
I'm Godi Odidi.
My name is Professor Oladokun Sulaiman Olarawaju.
Souq News is on the ground, loading.
Very enlightening, very educative, and entertaining.
Thank you to Souq News.
So I'm happy that Souq TV has come into existence.
I'm happy to be here in the Souq News.
I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and keep watching news that makes sense.
As Browning said, one's extension of one's reach should not exceed one's grasp, or what is heaven for. And I think Souq News is doing that.
Africa needs a voice of truth, and Souq News has become one of them. And get ready, get ready, get ready.
And keep watching.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. It's a place to be.
Keep watching.
Good morning and welcome to Early Exchange with Blessing H.A., Femi Ayodele, Sam Oruwoje, and Idahosa Osamanze.
It's a national orientation agency. It's, as far as I'm concerned, very idle and unprofessional.
If government says that subsidy is not in oil and government is not supposed to be paying subsidy in oil,
Energy or whatever kind of off-grid solution we will be looking at.
Today we are conducting mining today. Solid minerals, as an example, is, in no disrespect to anybody, is abysmal. We definitely need improvements in those areas. Of course, there are infrastructural needs.
This is Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
Thank you, Adesua, for that news update. It's still Early Exchange and it's time for news analysis. Time for us to look at headlines trending today. And like you know, when it comes to Early Exchange, you can count on us when it comes to proper analysis. I'm not alone this morning. Lesson is here. How are you today?
I'm very well. Good morning, Femi. Thank God it's Friday.
Yeah, it's always Friday. Looking
Yes,
more relaxed.
not just any Friday, the
Yeah.
Friday before Christmas.
Oh, that's significant.
Very, very.
The wise man is here.
Good morning, Femi.
Dr. Idahosa Osamanze,
morning,
glad
sir.
to have you here.
Blessing, good morning.
You never fail to remind us of the African culture and that this is weekend. Put on your dancing shoes and your party attire.
Proudly African.
Proudly African.
We're in Lagos.
Of course, of course.
Oh, I'm there.
Anywhere you see them gather, join.
All right, let's start with this interesting story from the Presidential Council of Industrial Revitalization has established a technical working group to formulate a framework to improve consumer credit nationwide. You know, the Minister of Trade has to emphasize that when it comes to consumer credit, it's a challenge in Nigeria. And what the Minister of Trade is trying to say here is that there's no structured consumer credit in Nigeria, as far as Nigeria is concerned. You know, the essence of consumer credit or that kind of facility or scheme is to enable individuals or business owners, if you need funds to do businesses, even for personal reasons, you can, you know, access them. It's like a short-term or intermediate time of loaning or loan facility, whereby you can take advantage of it to sponsor your businesses or to even finance your personal operations. But the Minister of Trade is saying here, as far as Nigeria is concerned, there's no structured, you know, credit system where people can access funds without necessarily or purchase goods without necessarily having the funds. globally, the essence of having that kind of facilities, if you're in trouble or if you need to finance your businesses, even for personal reasons, you access those kind of loans, and over time you pay back. But he's saying it's a challenge, and now they've set up a presidential council, a technical committee, to ensure that this kind of structure is put in place to help businesses and even the individuals who would like to take advantage of this kind of credit facility. Let me start with Dr. Idahosa. Do you agree with the minister? He's saying there's no structured...
Well, I don't think he's a minister. I think it's the direction that the regime is taking. Mr. President is quite clear on some basic issues when it comes to how the nation should be governed. And one of the issues that he has emphasized over and over again is the way that we are currently wired. There's no how corruption will not fester, because you have an institution that is designed in such a way that even the Pope can become corrupt. That is the real issue. So what you have here is a situation where an average income earner can only get a debit card from the bank, but can't get a credit card. That's the way the economy is structured. And now, we don't even have enough money to pay living wages, so that people can go to the market and buy food and eat, or buy necessities they need in the house. So what you find here is that disposable income in the hands of Nigerians are small, and therefore they cannot actually go to the market to shop because they don't have money. So they are barely living on necessity. And this is impacting the economy, because if companies are producing and the customers have no power to buy, what you find is that you have goods stored in the warehouse, and over time, companies run at a loss. So these are some of the issues. And you see, because most of the time when people are looking at, oh, companies are exiting Nigeria, they are not exiting Nigeria because of policy most of the time. There are a whole lot of things that are compounding the issue, because the inability of the consumer to patronize your product, as it were. You are having a 216 million people, but you are looking at the sales figure that is coming from time to time. It can't even get up to 10% of that population. So that is where we find ourselves. And so the president says, look, what is responsible for corruption? People want to pay school fees, they don't have money. They want to...
Virtually everything in Nigeria you pay out of your pocket.
No, you want to get health? No money. Buy food? No money. Buy furniture? No money. So you can't replace your furniture. People can't buy car for convenience. So all these things is the issue, because if you compute the salary of maybe a level 16, 15, 16 public officer in a year, he cannot buy a Tokumbo Corolla car if you put it together without taking out of it. Now, how do people in this kind of environment not be tempted to look elsewhere for money to support their daily livelihood? So what the president has done is to say, look, we must emphasize credits for consumers. It's not for business, it's for consumers. Those who are buying, not the people who are producing. So, because the producer need to generate demand and supply for the economy to be functional. Now, if you give loan to companies to start business, now you must also give loan to the consuming public to be able to buy those goods that are being produced. In that way, there will be mutual benefit, both to the producer and to society at large. And then government can even make more revenue. And that's why you see, because this is very important, because the president says by January 1, the student loan facility should begin which is an example of consumer credit. So what we are looking at is that even if your parents have no money to send you to school, you can actually approach institutions and then take loan to sponsor your education. And over time, as you start to work, state helps you to buy that loan. It will even become very important for even core bank staff. For example, if I were a banker right now, I would have been positioning myself to give such facility to people so that I just get them into my employment as they are coming out of the institution. And then, of course, over time, I recover whatever money that was spent on their education. Then you can actually get the best to work for you. So this is what the president wants. And so everybody knows what they should be doing. And people are now being accountable. And you know, before the president left Abuja yesterday, he said to Adelabu, that thing we said in COP28, please, I want to see the details. Has Siemens started work? So it's not business as usual, as they say. You have a president who is hungry to serve the people and want to deliver value to people and see how the economy can be robust. That you can actually approach a car company and say, well, this is my salary. In the next 4 years, I can afford to spare S amount from my salary. And over a period of 48 months, 60 months, I'll be able to pay you the whole amount. You can imagine that if 1 million people is in this operation and they are consistent in paying, what happened to the car company? They will be producing more car. Nigeria will be driving more car. Government will be getting more revenue. And so the economy will become as robust as it should be. And I think this is the emphasis here, that of course we have to find out how this will work. Also knowing our environment, where people are willing to take and they don't want to return. So it is easier to set up a committee to see how we can modulate these things and see them really taking effect beginning from 2024.
It really will be a good one, because some of the things that we see in other climes that we admire is the access to credit, where people can afford to own homes and own different things because they have access to mortgage, they have access to credit. Yes, but the workability is going to really take a whole lot to think it through how it works. Because I like that you mentioned our environment, and considering too that talking about financial inclusion, we're still not up to 100%. We're just a little over 50%. So because it will need to include the bank, and certain kinds of documentation will need to happen. If not, people will take it for granted. They will collect and not repay back, and so it will not make the system be sustainable. So, but I hope that it will happen. The banks though did try a kind of experiment with it when they introduced payday loans and all of that, but I'm thinking, or I'm hoping to see that it's expanded beyond that, because that will mean that there will be money in circulation in the economy and businesses will thrive, because then you have increased the purchasing power of consumers. People can confidently pay for things, and it's not just a thing that, oh, you must pay out of pocket. And this too will help for medical expenses, different kinds of expenses that people will have need for. But I just hope that the workability is being done, and it happens, and then it's sustainable. Of course, it means that our economy will grow even more when we have access to credit. People can be carrying credit card and not just
but you see, it's just that you have a government that's thinking. You know, yesterday we were talking about even the 50% transport fare cut and reduction. So this morning I saw a clip on how this is being worked out.
Okay.
Real time. You buy the tickets online, you bring the tickets to the bus station, and then a refund of 50 is done straight to your account.
That's better.
So it makes it very easy, because I was wondering how will this be implemented. So I think this is what government is doing, and they are thinking round the clock to see that the system is foolproof, that people will not unduly take advantage of it. You see, but one of the big work that banks do is to do comprehensive risk analysis to be able to assess who is actually assessing credit. Now, if you put credit online, you will not be able to actually assess this person. Having a one-on-one interface with this person, you will be able to determine who this person is. So you need to go before the bank and make a case that you actually need this fund. Questions will be asked. People will need to know your antecedents. You will need some guarantors who will say, oh, yes, this is what this person really needs. That's important. Now, of course, and this is where, for me, really, the harmonization of our data sets become very important. And the National Identification Management Commission must up its game in this regard by giving an identity to every Nigerian. We know where they are. We know what they do. That is captured in the database. So it will be very easy for the banking institutions to be able to use the data from NIMIC to validate claims from potential creditors. In that case, we'll be able to manage it. But it also comes with a whole lot of risk. Because if you go to most countries, because the loans are not collateralized. It's not a big loan that you have to collateralize. Certain amount of money that is put on your card that you can use. And that's if you're consistent in repaying. You know, a lot of people get into debt in the US, Western Europe, having this credit card because they just think it's free money, but it's not free money, it's actually a loan. And there is interest on it that you have to pay over time. So I feel with a properly managed national identification, it will be easy for us to know who and who is having these assets, and we are able to see that this person is actually able to operate that scheme for them to participate.
I like the fact that the federal government is thinking in this direction. Yeah, it's a good one, but I hope they can see it through. You know, it's one thing to conceptualize an idea. It's another thing to see it through, and then it becomes a reality. I hope this is not just a way to excite us on the pages of newspapers or just give us the hope that something is coming, but it must come to reality. Because the truth is, virtually everything in Nigeria, you pay out of pocket to access health services. You don't have insurance. Less than 10% of the population have access to health insurance. You have to pay. You know, education, you have to pay from pocket. You know, virtually everything. So if this is coming up, because over time, it's been realized that it's been an obstacle to financial inclusion and economic prosperity. For instance, if I need to buy a car now, I don't have access to mortgage or car loans. What it means is I'll have to start saving money. How long will it take me if I'm a civil servant and I earn maybe averaging like 100,000 a year? How much am I going to, a month? How much am I going to save for a year or years?
For like 10 years to have that dream come true.
So, you know, but if you have access to credit facility, consumer credit makes it easier and over time. I also hope this is not going to be abused if it's going to be implemented. There should be what I call element of control, where you don't exceed your capacity or your ability to pay back, so that it won't lead to a collapse of the system itself. This is also very crucial, because that's what happened with credit cards. People go there to assess this, and then at the end of the month, you know, you have nothing to take home. And so it's important to work it out. But I'm happy, you know, that the Presidential Council is thinking on improving on this, because it's very crucial to financial inclusion. All right. The next story is about, you know, public assets. The House of Representatives has called for immediate evaluation of public assets that belongs to, you know, the federal government. Check around in Lagos, especially in Lagos, you have a lot of public assets that have been abandoned over the years. In fact, close to us, we did a report recently, you know, evaluating some of these assets, some of these, you know, MDAs that were used as at the time when the capital territory was in Lagos. Some of them have been abandoned over the years. And you have companies like Amcon that can take over some of these assets, you know, value them, and then even offer them for sale. The way the federal government can also make money or hand it over to private, you know, entities who can also manage it. Now the House of Representatives is calling for immediate evaluation of these public assets, and then for them to be put in proper shape. It's going to be handed over to organizations that are going to handle them.
I was quite happy that that motion was moved by the rep from my own state.
Oh, interesting.
So Sayawi.
So he's representing you well.
Yes, she's representing very well. So it's quite important for us to look at public assets. You look at buildings, not just buildings alone, even government-owned companies. We don't even know their valuation. You know, you need to know what value this building costs at the current market price, so that even if you want to sell them, you will know what to sell. Whether it's a for sales value or the actual market value, but you have to know the value of your assets. And I'm not sure that government companies are well valued. But I don't know how much is NNPC really. There's a pretty meeting company here. So you have all public assets scattered over the whole place. But we've not done a comprehensive valuation of his assets, and that is critical. Because it's even money in itself. Yeah, they are money in itself. So if you're able to actually value them, like we said, we have public facilities here in Lagos. Look at the old defense building. Look at the old secretariat. We can continue to count. All these assets, they are money in themselves. And these are things that we can actually also convert into money, especially the buildings that are not currently in use. UAE did that while they were facing out, of course, big offices. Most of their buildings they converted to commercial, and it's generating income by the day. Government don't need necessarily to have to manage it. This thing can be ceded to
asset
managers who will do proper evaluation, and government enter into an agreement with them. We know what this value is, what will be generated annually, what is government share, and what is going to the private individual managing their property, and then adding value to the economy. And I think this is quite important, that we need to know what's the size of our asset. And this is why you see in the past we sold out national assets at ridiculous prices because nobody knows their value. You have invested billions of naira in an asset, and now you want to give it away. We don't know the estate, so just give it at a giveaway price. So many things that were sold. You see, we didn't get the right value because there were no value on the ground that we have to use in determining what rate you want to use in selling this property. So this is why it's important that we have to value all the assets, know what it is, and then of course we can also monetize them and even use them to collateralize even national loan if need be. So I feel that it's a move in the right direction, and I think we as a nation need to put emphasis on that and know where they are, know their locations, do a proper inventory, know what is what, and then of course we can now assign values to them. So if we want to privatize them, we can go ahead and privatize them. But if we want to commercialize them, we can also go ahead and commercialize them. But it is proper we know what exact value these assets are worth.
And it comes to from not having value for public funds, because these structures were actually built using public funds. The ones that have even been used or been housing government offices, those are even a different case. There are some that were built to a certain level, they weren't completed, and they were left abandoned. Over the years, they become hideouts for hoodlums, and they become security threats to those within the environment. So if we begin to see public funds as funds that should be used judiciously, then that's an approach of, oh, a building starts, maybe because administration changes, you have a new person in office, it doesn't continue, we'll stop. And then for the buildings themselves, people are looking for office space. If you know how expensive that accommodation, office spaces, business spaces are in Lagos, then you just see these buildings wasting. even if it's to lease them out for a lesser price than other commercial buildings are going for, that would be a relief even to business people and also generate revenue. So thinking along that line will go a very long way.
You know, the annoying thing about some of these abandoned buildings, you know, especially the one in Lagos, some miscreants have taken over.
They become the landlords. Yes, they become the landlords of the buildings.
According to findings and reports, they're even collecting rent. They've taken over some of this because they've been abandoned over the years. So they felt, okay, since nobody's asking questions and they needed a space, they took it over and they start collecting rent for people who would like to use it. So over time, it's become hideouts for criminals and all that. These are things that can be taken advantage of. Like the good reference you make, what happened in UAE to encourage remote working. They had some public assets has to be converted to residential buildings, you know. We have to just come forth with the idea of this good maintenance culture over time, so that whatever belongs to the government, there's always this perception, if it belongs to the government,
then it belongs to no one.
You know, it belongs to no one. So that has to be put. That's why you have a company like AMCOM. That's the essence of having, in fact, the act that establishes that corporation obliges them to take over things like this, you know, with proper documentation, and then it will be done. But I'm happy the House of Representatives is pointing the attention of the federal government to this. Let's hope that something will be done soon, because this advocacy has been going on for years and nothing has been done. But I hope it won't be the same thing. Let's see what will come up from this advocacy. All right, let's check out what the group Chief Executive Officer of NMPCL is trying to say, that they want to leverage on the abundant gas resources in Nigeria to transform the country's power and industrial sector. You agree with me that when it comes to the issue of gas, we have it in abundance. God has blessed us. I always say Nigeria, we are blessed. Virtually everything you want to look for in the whole world, natural resources, whatever it is, minerals, we have them in abundance. But it's just that over time we've not been able to maximize them. We've not been able to take advantage of our blessings, to, like your name, to turn to blessings for the nation. So, but you know, the GMD of NMPCL is saying that, okay, henceforth from the coming year, they want to leverage on the abundance gas supply or gas resources, especially liquefied gas that we have in Nigeria. Let me ask you, Dauza, are you optimistic this can be done?
Well, I'm quite optimistic. I'm optimistic, you see, because like we said yesterday here, everything rises and falls on leadership. And you have a leadership that seems to know what you want to do. And so once you have a clear cut or direction where you're going, you see everything will be gravitating toward that. You see, because for me, the model for this analysis is always against the background of the campaign promises. And that's the only way we can assess what government is doing. That they didn't just throw that document on our face just to win vote and enter into the office. And I also want Nigeria to take a look at that document that this current regime campaigned with, and see what steps and actions they are taking, how they are aligning with these promises.
Is it not too early to celebrate? You know?
No, I'm not celebrating. Okay. I'm not celebrating. What I'm only saying is that, you see, I have said it at the very beginning that for a very long time, Nigeria has not had the privilege of having a politician who comes to govern as the head of the state, as it were. And this is the very first time you have somebody who was well prepared and well intentioned and planned to govern. Because all that has happened over these last 24 years, since 1999, we're all by accident, if we have to be honest with ourselves. So you really don't have somebody who has a program on the hand that said, this is what I want to execute. Now, one of the issues that, of course, Mr. President also spoke to was the issue of how we lost out in the gas game while the Ukrainian-Russian war was ongoing. that Saudi Aramco made so much money from gas? Because Europe was almost under a kind of a siege, and they needed gas. And he said Nigerians would have capitalized on that, and he said it is not too late. If we didn't do it yesterday, we can do it today. So all these conversations for me, they are flowing from the fact that it seems that the Federal Executive Council has currently constituted have a mission that they are driving at and the things that they are going to leverage on. Last month, if you remember, at a hotel and suits, one of the managing director who was speaking on this same issue was saying how Nigeria were going to a kind of domesticate and regionalize gas, opportunity in Nigeria to about 20% between now and 2025. So see, everybody seems to be speaking toward the same direction. And of course, this happened yesterday when, of course, at the launch of the floating liquefied natural gas facility, which is co-hosted by Delta State government and the private sector. So the sector is being opened up, and we're taking advantage of the things that are valuable to us. So I'm just hoping that states are going to all cooperate in this regard and see how we take advantage of what nature has given to us for the good of the greater majority of the people of Nigeria. So for me, it's something that is fixable, it's something that is doable, and it's something that is also commendable that NNPC is thinking beyond petrol and also seeing how to actually leverage the opportunity that is in that sector.
All right, let's move on to the next story because of our time. It's about the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy. He has raised concerns about the poor state of access road to our seaports. Get to my two, Apapa access, that thing can access. When you get there, the congestion on that road, this thing has been there for years, and it's compounding the problem of, ability to access the seaports. Get to Tikan, Apapa, you will see the road, the way, the trucks, on the road causing congestion. And it's also compounded, the problem of being able to access the seaports. And this is adding to the issue of demurrage. You have people, importers or exporters, who are supposed to use this corridor. They find it difficult to use them. And something that should take you 24 hours is going to take you days. In fact, sometimes weeks. You see those trucks, they are parked on the axis because they needed to pick up one thing or the other. Those involved in oil business and logistics, you see them at that corridor. And so the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Oyetola, is raising concerns about this. This is part of what discourages, importers from accessing those seaports. That's why they prefer to go to Ghana neighboring seaports, because the business environment is more friendly, and then it's easier for them to do businesses within days, and they're out of the place. This has been of concern. Blessing?
Yes, the thing is, it's long overdue, because even the spillover from the congestion that you have on the Apapa Road also affects motorists, and also it's a problem, because for those who have been able to clear their containers coming out of that area and getting onto the major road because they need to travel back, take the containers to their final destination, it's a problem. But how it's going to work, I do not know what alternate routes to be provided while work is being carried out on that road, because doesn't mean that work operations will be halted for some time, because while it's in use, you cannot carry out repairs. And if you're carrying out repairs, what are the provisions? What are the alternatives? But in all, it's long overdue, so that people don't waste more time than necessary trying to get into the seaport or trying to come out of the seaport. And if we could perhaps use have other means of taking the containers to their final destinations, maybe via ships, instead of going through the road, the containers being on vehicles, heavy-duty vehicles, and then going through the road. Because even when you see them carry these containers, you are scared to drive yes, you're scared to drive by the side because it's not latched. Even when it's latched, it's not latched enough to protect it from, if it's traveling on the bad route, from falling over. So there are a lot of issues associated with containers moving in and out of the seaport. First of all is the road. I do hope that an alternate route is possible, and then work can be done as quick as possible.
Yeah, I think it's not just enough to lament. You see, we have to just get into action, and there are so many things that can be done. And yesterday I was reading on IFC, just signed a contract with Egypt to develop a new seaport, brand new one. And of course, the first phase of construction is about to begin, and they had advanced them about 570 something million US dollars to start the construction of a brand new seaport. And I think this is not a rocket science. This is achievable. We just need to decongest Lagos, and that's what it is. Because the only functional port is Lagos. There is the Onne port. It's not functional. There's a port in Warri. It's not functional. We need to dredge the Benue River. We can have a port in Ondo State, deep sea port in Ondo State. It's possible to have a port at Onitsha Gate, by River Niger. So all these things are assets that God has given to us. Because I don't see a reason why somebody who is operating in a Benue State, for example, or Niger State, had to come to clear goods from Lagos.
It even increases the cost.
This is what we need to deal with. The Minister of Blue Economy should be thinking not about road that is linking to one port. He should be thinking of creating functional port. How do we ensure security in the Niger Delta, for example, so that the Onne port and the Warri port can become functional? How do we build a new port in Ondo State? How do we build a new port in Benue, Axis, or Kogi Axis? So we must think around these possibilities so that if you have a viable port, say for example in Benue or in Kogi, that is, or even Ondo, that is feeding the northern part, the pressure on Apapa will go down, and the pressure on the Lagos road will go down. So that people who are coming from, for example, Onitsha, Aba, to clear container here, they can do that in Port Harcourt, which is proximate to their place of business. And that reduces logistic costs, and also will in turn affect the general prices of goods and services, which of course we know the cost of logistics is very high. So when people queue in Apapa here for days waiting to come clear container, that cost is on the consumer indirectly. So we need to find a way. And this is where a lot of people talk about the infrastructure gap in Nigeria, that we need to look for money to build basic infrastructure and see, because this is critical for that $1 trillion economy. Apapa port cannot do it alone. We need multiple ports to be able to get this done. So rather than focus on just road construction, we can channel the money to reduce the traffic from Lagos and shift it elsewhere.
Let me take your attention to what is happening in Angola. You focus too much on Nigeria. So let me take you away from that. You know, Angola has announced its departure from OPEC. You know, this is as a result of a protest. You know, OPEC had reduced its oil output to 1.1 million barrels per day. And then the Angolan authority decided to write a letter of protest to OPEC that they don't even intend to abide by it, you know, to show their level of dissatisfaction. As a result of that, officially, they had to exit, you know, OPEC, just to make their intention known that they are not comfortable with the decision made by OPEC, giving them or pegging their oil production or output 1.1 billion barrels per day. You're smiling.
Smiling.
Okay. What could be the
Because
reason?
sometimes it's difficult to blow against the wind.
From
Even the very big power like America has tried OPEC, and over the years they've not been able. I hope it will not mean more hardship for Angola. You see, I feel that there are better ways to do things in terms of negotiation, and really put your argument on the ground and negotiate, and then get value rather than this protestation that may even make things much more difficult for you. Yeah, of course, we have voices in the margin that may be willing and be pushing from the background. But I can tell you, because of the solid structure that OPEC has had on the ground for a very long time, it may even be difficult for them to succeed. And this is international game and international politics. And so we must not take our mind away from it. Yes, we can continue to negotiate. But if you want to fight a body that is stronger than you, then you must be ready. And be really ready. And be strong enough to be able to withstand the pressure. Because at the end of the day, it will just be like, you know,
like they stand alone. And I wonder how they do that. But OPEC on its own have over the time tried to cut supply as a way to also control the price. So when they usually give quota to countries, petroleum exporting countries, quota, this is as much as you can export over a period of time. And even when the price of oil was quite low, they used that as a mechanism to kind of raise up the price, because the demand wasn't as free as other countries who were buying the crude were expecting. So to be a standalone out of all the petroleum exporting countries, and it's not as if you're a solid player in the industry, where some countries can do that, they have the muscle to do that, but I didn't actually see. I agree with you also that I don't think that Angola has the muscle to do that.
You actually find the only solution to OPEC is to develop alternative source of energy. That's all. So you have to look for alternative, so that of course it can reduce your cost, because that institution is so strong. They're so strong and they're so united. But again, you cannot blame them, because most of these countries are actually relying on this natural source for their national developments, and therefore the need to stabilize price for the market is critical. And that's why OPEC is there, and to ensure that what is supply is controlled in such a way that the nations get value for these resources.
We need to wrap up now. From the wise saying from the wise man, we'll just have to conclude. Dr. Idahosa Osamueze, thank you so much for your suggestions and your counsel, and blessing also for providing the right compliment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Femi, for having us on the show this morning.
All right, Early Exchange, we always talk about the big story for the day, and our big story today is to look at online dating, the help, and also the business side of it. We always discuss the business side of everything, because there's always business aspect of life, and that will take place after this short break. Stay with us.
My name is Dr. Rafiu Oladipo.
My name is Baba Jalal Repega.
I'm Reverend Juliet Benite.
I'm Godi Odidi.
My name is Professor Oladokun Sulaiman Olarawaju.
Souq News is on the ground, loading.
Very enlightening, very educative, and entertaining.
Thank you to Souq News.
So I'm happy that Souq TV has come into existence.
I'm happy to be here in the Souq News.
I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and keep watching news that makes sense.
As Browning said, one's extension of one's reach should not exceed one's grasp, or what is heaven for. And I think Souq News is doing that.
Africa needs a voice of truth, and Souq News has become one of them. And get ready, get ready, get ready.
And keep watching.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. It's a place to be.
Keep watching.
Hi, I'm Blessing Aiche, anchor and exchange on Souq News. The beautiful season is here again.
I smell Christmas.
Ta-da! It's Christmas.
Christmas is a holiday where we celebrate the birth of Christ. It is a super celebration where we share love and many cheers.
Christmas, a time to make merry and show love.
Spend time. Go out there and spend time with your family and friends and loved ones. I mean, you don't get to do that.
I can't wait to have my plate of rice and chicken. I'm Adesua Iramasele. I'm a presenter and anchor right here on Souq News.
I am Osamaza Idahosa, Femi Watched Limited owner of Souq News and Watch Radio.
wishing you a very wonderful Christmas. Christmas represents the incarnation of God, becoming man and showing us the greatest of love. It's a season to love one another. Show love to your brother out there and let the love move around.
I'm okay.
My name is Raymond Bola Brown.
Hi, my name is Fred Amata, and you are on to Souq News.
If you are watching this channel for the first time, make sure you continue to watch it because this is Souq News.
Shout out to Souq News. Actually, I don't know. I really enjoyed the little moment I spent with you, and I think with more of this.
Souq News. Here's the Souq News who had the courage to transcend a locked off camera and actually have a conversation with a human being. It's a pleasure, Souq News. Thank you very much.
Good morning and welcome to Early Exchange with Blessing H.A., Femi Ayodele, Sam Oruwoje, and Idahosa Osamanze.
It's a national orientation agency. It's, as far as I'm concerned, very idle and unprofessional.
If government says that subsidy is not in oil and government is not supposed to be paying subsidy in oil,
energy or whatever kind of off-grid solution we will be looking at.
Today we are conducting mining today. Solid minerals, as an example, is, in no disrespect to anybody, is abysmal. We definitely need improvements in those areas. Of course, there are infrastructural needs.
This is Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
All right, today's show is taking a direction that you perhaps never anticipated. We've talked about business, we've talked about economy and developmental issues, yes. And today it's time to take a look at online dating. You may think, really? What is online dating? Why are you talking about online dating on Early Exchange? Yes, that's because we want to look at its economic valuation. Now, just in case you didn't know, that globally that industry is worth over $14 billion. And in Nigeria, it is worth over $100 million. So you see why we must talk about it. In the studio, we have with us Dario Olatuyi, who is the co-founder and CEO Truth Lotter dating app. And he's going to be talking about the market size and growth of online dating. Good morning. Welcome to Early Exchange.
Good morning. Good morning.
It's nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, online dating, this is something that started playfully around the 1990s, and before we know it, we begin to find that there are different apps and there are different local players in Nigeria connecting people. Before, when people want to date or they want to get married, it takes a physical connection. You just have to meet someone physically. But people decided to do it for others. Tell us about it.
Well, I mean, the world, like you said, the world has evolved. It's not the way you meet people now is not the way you used to meet people then. I mean, people are more inclined to use their phones to connect with people. And that's when we decided to create something that would be able to connect people that are looking for genuine and serious relationships.
I would like you to talk to us, what are some of the reasons, attracting this kind of huge patronage, over time, maybe years back, the online dating app is not that common as it is now, but now it's becoming the rave of the moment. So talk to us, what are the factors necessitating the acceptance, the level of patronage that you have now?
So first of all, I think pandemic created a lot of demand for what we're doing now. But even before the pandemic, you notice that the population has increased and people tend to get very busy and find it hard to find like matches, So that's why people decided to start using dating apps. But apart from that, a lot of people have started using social media, and that's what has attracted more people to using dating apps. Back in the days, maybe like 10, 15 years ago, people are not so used to using their mobile phones or mobile apps then. But right now, there are a lot of, like millions of people have started using that. And if people use it for entertainment, why can't they use it to also find love or find a date?
find love or find a date. But talk to me about some misconceptions that people have about dating apps. What are they?
The misconception is that, the number one misconception is that people may think you're desperate, but I feel it's not about being desperate, it's about you positioning yourself. Like I always say that what you seek is also seeking you, and whoever you're looking for could actually be on the dating app. And that is why, you know, I've tried to create a different narrative of why people should find love. I found my wife on the dating app myself. So, so that's number one misconception, that okay, people may be a bit desperate, but it's not about that. It's just being more deliberate and looking for love.
You know, anything that has to do with technology or internet is vulnerable to abuse, or you know, people taking advantage of it. So how do you verify the true identity of people coming on those platforms, you know, claiming to be whatever they could claim to be?
So that's what we really put in place. When we thought of building a dating app, we knew that the number one challenge was going to be the security features. And that's why we spent a lot of money building a customized security system to flag accounts. So we flag over 70 accounts on a daily basis of people that just try to come for either different reasons. Either maybe you're married or you're there for different reasons. So we have facial recognition feature where you can actually profile the person's face and make sure that the person is not catfishing. But also we also have free voice and video call, where you don't have to exchange numbers, but you can also verify the person via video call without even having to exchange the person's number. But apart from that, we have like security features that flag accounts of suspicious people on the platform. So we spent quite a lot of money just trying to build that security system to flag accounts.
All right, you mentioned that you met your wife on a dating app. What's the difference actually using a dating app and then you finding someone? Is it just that it brings more people your way? The success rate of the matchmaking, the connections. Talk to us about it.
It's funny, right? It's not only me. We've had 74 weddings since I started.
Seriously?
Yes. I mean,
is that successful? What are the reasons?
The reason is that because people are actually looking for serious relations. You don't understand the number of people looking for love in the world. So apart from Nigerians, apart from Africans, there's so many people looking for love. And that's why we created our platform to make sure what we project is we're looking for people that are looking for serious relationships to get connected. So there's so many people looking for relationships, and we just tell people that, you know what, our platform is the best place for you to find love, and that's why people come to the platform to find love. So it's really that's why a lot of people basically use the platform just to find love. And I always tell people it's easier. I understand that you can't go on. It's very exhausting when you meet people physically and you drive out to go on dates, spend money and do all that. But if you can easily meet someone on a dating app, you can easily profile the person if the person is on the same wavelength as you are. And if the person is not, you move to the next person and you start chatting away. So that's why it's much more easier, and the matchmaking process is much more accelerated on the app.
How do you differentiate people who are serious from the ones that are not serious? I'm curious to know the kind of mechanism you put in place to do that, because human nature, sometimes you can't just phantom or predict it within a period. And anybody could change, could be anything. So what kind of mechanism have you put in place or is in place to ensure that you can see those who are serious from those who are not?
Okay, for that, we try as much as possible to educate our subscribers. Now, one thing, I'm also a private matchmaker, but what I always tell people on the platform is that the number one indicator that someone is serious is if they spend time, invest time in communicating with you. So if you invest that time, like I always say, you appreciate what you invest time in, you know, like you're working, you spend time working, you appreciate your work. The same way with relationships, when you invest time in getting to know that person, that's the number one indicator that the person is actually serious-minded. And you can actually equally invest as much time in that relationship too.
All right, the matchmaking process, what does it entail? Is it based on the need the person puts forward, or there are other things to be considered when matchmaking people, so that whoever is using the app gets the kind of match that they would actually want?
So it's based on so many things. It's based on personality traits. It's based on your hobbies, things you have in common, your religion, your value system. So there are a lot of things we put in place because me as coming as a matchmaker, there are a lot of things that we integrated on the platform that will make the process faster. For instance, if I like sci-fi movies and I say I only want to meet people who like movies, watching movies too, the app would actually feed you those kind of people that like movies, like yourself. So basically people having similar values, similar interests, and also personality traits that can match with each other. So we look at those things and we match people based on that.
All right, let's look at the market size now. It's often said, or there are reports suggesting he's huge, he's big, but give us a true picture of how big the market is in Nigeria, the potential, the opportunities, and then I'm wondering, how do you make money from the app?
Yeah, it's something a lot of people don't look into. They've not been looking into. Like when I started, people thought I was crazy, but I knew I was solving a problem. And for every problem you solve, there's always a way to make money from that problem you're solving. And the market is very huge. We're only a few dating apps, African-owned dating apps in Africa. So there's a blue ocean. There's a wide opportunity for us to even grow bigger than we are now. So right now we are quite big in terms of numbers and revenue in Nigeria, but even bigger outside Nigeria, because there are a lot of people, Africans in the diaspora, looking for love. And they say the first and second generation of Africans living in the diaspora, they always want to marry people from their own culture, from their own religion. So they tend to look back home. And that is why TrueFlorida has been doing well, even more outside Nigeria in terms of numbers and in terms of revenue. So it's the market is really huge. There are people that came before us and they've exited. Like there's an Egyptian dating app that they exited to with a big amount of money. So it's
what could have led to that?
Exited means that another company acquired them, so they made a profit. They made a profit, and and that's what happens with dating apps. So it is a very lucrative business, but of course you need to, like everything. The thing about business is that you need to grow. You need to be able to, it's not all roses and sunshine, but there are times when you just need to put in the work. And right now we're reaping the benefits because right now it's growing organically. For my company, I don't need to run adverts anymore. And it grows in the thousands every month in terms of revenue, in terms of user acquisition.
So what are the other, from research it shows that there are other businesses now that thrive because of dating apps. So what's the value chain like for online dating as you have for other businesses?
So for TrueFlorida, we are working on different things next year. We're going to be partnering with like restaurants and other places or maybe florists and all that, where people when they meet online, they can actually get a voucher, or you can buy a voucher from those restaurants. Basically being integrated with all those restaurants and the different people that sell things that pertaining to love and what people would also like. So we're going to be partnering with them, and also companies can actually advertise their product on our own platform too. So that's a way that we feed off people and we can generate more income, and also companies can get more exposure on our platform.
All right, for an investor who is watching you now, listening, who wants to invest in this, what should be the starting point? Take us through the processes involved in starting this kind of businesses, talking about capital, talking about the technical expertise, the technical requirements, and then other things that are needed to start this kind of business.
It takes a lot. First of all, the technical needs to be really good, because most dating apps, or even technology-driven apps, their CTOs or their technology is the one that drives like the stability or the stickiness of the business. So you need to have a good CTO. But first of all, you have an idea. Like we have a different value proposition, even though we're a dating app, but our value proposition is different. But if you want to come with an idea, if you have an idea, you want to start a business like this, you need to test the market with an MVP. Once you have an MVP is like a minimum viable product. You don't spend so much, and that's how I started. Okay, I had the idea. I've tested it for a year. Then I gathered a number of users and also revenue. I knew, okay, this idea will work if I scale. So when you have this kind of ideas, you need to start on a small scale, then start growing and putting more resources into it. So the technical aspect, yes, you need to look into that, and you always need to tweak. You always need to get user feedback. You know, the growth of TrueFlorida is based on user feedback. We always ask our customers what they want us to do or what they want us to add to what we have. How can we evolve as a company? So user feedback is actually very important when it comes to the growth and development of a dating app.
All right, for employment as part of your economic contribution, I know that online dating apps, some of them have coaches, they have people who are like counselors and all. So how do you source for these people and how effective is it?
For counselors, we don't have so many counselors. We only have a few. Like for the ones who have gotten married, maybe they need counseling or they need like some words of wisdom. We give them that, and you know. But we have, I mean, in that department, we don't have so many. Where, I mean, when it comes to the technical department, we have quite a number of people working for us. And also for the PR department, we also have people working for us. But in terms of counseling, we don't have so many people in that department. But of course, like I said, it's a chain where that's actually very needed, because I know a lot of people tend to want to ask questions and they want to get more insights in relationships and how they can make their relationships better. So we know that it's a space that we can, you know, you can add more of that service to what we do.
Earlier you talked about your record, you know, having statistics about 70% success rate. I'd like to know what is likely responsible for this level of success. Could it be the personalities or your mechanism, or what do you think is likely responsible? Because the essence of having such a forum like this, the end product, is to ensure that the aim is being achieved. And so if you're having that, what has led to it? Could it be the personalities involved, or the mechanism you've put in place, or the needs of those people being met?
First of all, I think it's the community. It is zero tolerance for, we're not like the other dating apps that people are, there's some kind of names you associate with other dating apps that Nigerians are used to. So first of all, is the value of the company, what we do, what we stand for. And that's what we projected to the public. So the people who come, they already know what they want to meet, who they want to meet on the platform. So when they're bad eggs, they fish them out and they even report them to us. And
But how do you handle that, the bad eggs?
That's what I'm saying, we deactivate accounts. So the thing about us is that once you deactivate your account, you can never download the app again on your phone once we deactivate it. So it's how we project ourselves as a company that people now come out on the platform, and that's why you see a lot of serious-minded people being on the platform, meeting each other. Like I always say, if the people have the same motive and they're on the same platform, it'll be easy for them to transition from being friends to being in relationships. And this is one thing I noticed. People who are serious-minded, they meet on the platform, it takes about 6 months to 8 months to get married. Why? Because they already know what they want. They already have that same motive. And they, you know, so they don't have to say, oh, let me wait for 2 years before I think you're the right person. You know, because they already know that, okay, this is what I want. I want to settle down. And I want to meet my spouse. So if I've met you on the platform, then what are we waiting for?
All right. How do you think online dating apps were able to break into the African markets? And speaking generally now, not just for your company, were able to break into the African markets given the already the cultural mindset of a lot of Africans that, oh, you just have to meet people. Sometimes you have to let God lead you, things like that.
I think generally, we just emulate what people do abroad, what's popular abroad. It's just like us and Ghana. We're a bigger country, right? And most of, like, majority of Ghanaians listen to more Nigerian music than their music. So I think it's just the same thing with technology and dating apps. I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry in America and in Europe. So if it's popular there, it's very likely that Africans tend to emulate what those people are doing there. So I think that's one of the reasons. And why I would also say that is that none of these foreign dating apps that are very popular there have advertised in Africa before. So if they're popular in Nigeria, it means that they've heard about them from their counterparts abroad, and they've just said, okay, let me download it.
Let me ask you, is it expensive to use a dating app?
It's cheap. It's something, subscription based, it's cheaper than what you pay for lunch.
Okay.
So it's, if you pay for a month, it's cheaper than what you pay for lunch. So it's cheap. It's quite cheap, especially when you want to find love. It's quite cheap compared to,
compared to the other options that a person may have.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right. The conversation is getting more interesting, but we need to go on a short break now. When we return, we'll have more discussion regarding the issue of online dating. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Blessing Aiche, anchor and exchange on Souq News. The beautiful season is here again.
I smell Christmas.
Ta-da! It's Christmas.
Christmas is a holiday where we celebrate the birth of Christ. It is a super celebration where we share love and many cheers.
Christmas, a time to make merry and show love.
Spend time. Go out there and spend time with your family and friends and loved ones. You don't get to do that.
I can't wait to have my plate of rice and chicken. I'm Adesiwa Iramasele. I'm a presenter and anchor right here on Souq News.
I am Osama Idahosa, Femi Watch Limited owner of Souq News and Watch Radio. Wishing you a very wonderful Christmas. Christmas represent the incarnation of God, becoming man and showing us the greatest of love. It's a season to love one another. Show love to a brother out there and let the love move around.
I'm okay.
My name is Raymond Bola Brown.
Hi, my name is Fred Amata, and you are on to Souq News.
If you are watching this channel for the first time, make sure you continue to watch it, because this is Souq News.
Shout out to Souq News. Actually, I don't know. I really enjoyed the little moment I spent with you, and I think with more of this.
Souq News. Here's the Souq News, who had the courage to transcend a locked off camera and actually have a conversation with a human being. It's a pleasure, Souq News. Thank you very much.
Good morning and welcome to Early Exchange with Blessing Aiche, Femi Ayodele, Sam Oruwoje, and Idahosa Osamanze.
It's a national orientation agency. It's, as far as I'm concerned, very idle and unprofessional.
If government says that subsidy is not in oil and government is not supposed to be paying subsidy in oil,
energy or whatever kind of off-grid solution we will be looking at.
Today we are conducting mining today. Solid minerals, as an example, is, in no disrespect to anybody, it's abysmal. We definitely need improvements in those areas. Of course, there are infrastructural needs.
This is Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
All right, the conversations behind the scene about online dating has really got us smiling and talking, lots of inquiries. It's interesting to know how something you think just a few persons do has created an economy. And we still have Dari in the studio with us, who is the co-founder and CEO of Truth Lotter dating app, talking to us about the market size and growth of online dating. Now, let me ask, since you operate within the African market, are you thinking of modifying your services to the needs of some Africans? It is believed here in Africa that polygamy is an African thing, but on a dating app, if a person is married, you do not allow them to be on the app. Are you considering expanding to attend to people who believe in polygamy and wouldn't mind having polygamous partner?
Nope, I don't. And one of the reasons would be my values as a founder. I know that, I always tell people, if you want to be polygamous. I'm sure there are other dating apps that would onboard you as a person. But for me, a lot of people have trusted our brand and what we do. So and there's just a minute number of people looking to be polygamous, and I'm not going to now spoil what I'm doing based on just a minute number.
They're really segmented.
Nah, I won't do that. I won't do that.
I'd like to know, do you have a reliable or a viable database? And then let's talk about the issue of privacy for those who want to come on the platform, but they also want to maintain the confidentiality of their data or their information. How do you handle that?
When we started that, we looked so much into that. Data privacy is very important to us, and your information is not put out there in public. It's encrypted, and nobody can penetrate. Nobody whatsoever. I've got the best guys in the world, one of the best guys in the best tech team in the world to deal with these issues, and that's what we looked into when we're building the platform. So data privacy is very important to us. There's nothing like, so once you're even done with the app and you want to delete your information, you can actually delete your information yourself.
As a follow-up to that, when people come on such platforms, what kind of information do they have to release or release on the platform? What kind of information, apart from names and some other thing?
I mean, that's basically it, actually.
Okay, just the name or the user?
Yeah, names and what you like doing. So, and, so there's, basically your names, what you like doing, your interests, and just if you're the occupation, and just a few other things. And we're also the first dating app to have the audio bio feature. You can actually listen to what someone sounds like. Like, you can be on the platform, just record yourself. Oh, hi, I'm a presenter, this, that. And ladies can actually assess you and evaluate you if you're the right person for them by just listening to you before sending you a friend request. So, but data privacy is very important to us.
Now, with the use of AI and other features in mobile phones now, mobile devices that people could use to enhance and misrepresent what they actually look or sound like, is there a way to catch that?
Well, the way to catch that is video call. You can't fake it, right? You can't fake your appearance on video. So you can call the person on video call. But for AI, for AI, I don't think it's used frequently now because it's expensive to even acquire those things. But for now, right, we have those simple things that you can use to detect people like that. But also, we're also evolving as the world evolves, as technology evolves, and try to tackle this kind of issues and situations.
Let's look at the technical aspect of it. Anything has to do with the internet. You have the issue of technical failure, server breakdown. So typical what happened during an election. Don't let me go there. But I hope you're not having that kind of. Even if you're gonna have that kind of experience, how do you manage it? Looking at the level of congestion they have, the followership and the people who are using that app. So the issue of technical failure or breakdown of server or behind the scenes, how do you handle these technical failures?
So we don't have technical failures. In the only time we have, we always we want to change some things on the they did for storage and all that. We want to increase storage and all that. So we might send a message out there that okay, and we always do it at a time where we know that a lot of people will be asleep. That okay, we're going to be down for maybe not 2 hours, about 1 hour or 30 minutes or so. We're going to be down for 30 minutes due to just maintenance and all that. So we do all that, but before we do that, we just inform our subscribers that will be out for 30 minutes to 1 hour or so. Whatever hours that's my technical team, they tell me that we're going to be out for. But mostly, anytime they do that, they want to do that, like I said, it's always most of the time when people are asleep and they're not really using the platform like that.
Is there a process regarding follow-up of activities of people who are signed on to the app? For instance, a person is connecting. Is there a period of time in which you have to ensure that the relationship is virtual before it progresses to physical? And do you follow up to a certain extent, or you just leave it to people to go at their pace?
No, we leave it to people. But the thing about us is that when you sign up, you get a message from us on us just trying to inform you to take your time to get to know the person before you go on your first date. You know, so that information is there for you to do. And sometimes you just get like flash messages on just us advising you on the things you need to do to maybe get a better match, or you know, when you need to go on the first date. So yeah, but not personal calls and all that. We don't try to. We try as much as possible not to invade in their privacy, but we just try to just educate them for the platform on things they need to do.
What has been your experience or your observation about the activities of scammers or hackers who are always there? They are experts too, but they take advantage of, you know, hubs or opportunities like this where you have more people to perpetrate their act. So what has been your experience, and then how have you been handling this?
My experience is that they don't, no, that is, and it's very funny. My experience is that there's so many loopholes from them. They're smart, but they're not that smart, in the sense that they make a lot of mistakes, and it's easy to, because we've documented a lot of mistakes they can make, we already have a security thing in place to be able to flag those accounts. Trust me, they make mistakes, you know, because they don't, I can't say much, but they make a lot of mistakes, you know, and we capitalize on those things. So before, in minutes when they're on the platform, we can already know, we flag their accounts and so on. So, but there are a lot of things that they do that we know. It's a playbook that they do that we know, and we make sure we secure the platform before they can even do anything.
Do you get reviews from users to say, oh, I've used this app before and it was safe using it, works? Do you get people to actually come out to do that?
Sure. I mean, people come out to do that. You know, like I said again, regarding what you even said again, once you get on the platform, we always tell you things not to do. So even if the scammers go on the platform, they already see that, okay, you can't do transfers, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't ask for money, you can't, you know. So they know the things that you can't. So even the scammers even know that, okay, this is not a good place for business for us, you know. So yeah. So your question?
Yes, reviews. For some businesses, you have people reviewing, users of the app or users of the product reviewing. Yeah. For online dating apps, do people actually do reviews?
Definitely, it's good. I mean, and I'll say the good reviews and I'll say the bad reviews, because, you know, the bad reviews would be people that have their accounts deactivated and they come and chat stuff. Oh, why do we know that, you know, the app is this, that, why did they deactivate my account? And that's why I'm saying that there's zero tolerance. Some people come, they beg, and when we don't listen to them, they go and put a review. But for the good reviews and more constructive reviews, we try and take that in and try and make it better, make the platform better, and also get feedback from people. So what we do also is that we get random people every month, about 20 people, random users, and we just put them on a Zoom call and ask them what we should do to make the platform better for them. And they give us feedback. Oh, okay, they feel we should do this or that. And my tech team is actually there on the call, and they get feedback and also improve on what we currently have. So yeah, so for the good reviews, yes, we get reviews. And for the other reviews, well, we always tell them that our app is not for like hookups and all that. So if you're on the platform for that, then your account will get deactivated and they get better.
Okay, the part I was actually trying to find out, when you go on Google and you check on some apps or some products, you could see those who have reviewed it, and you could actually see their identity or perhaps their Google name. So is that public as well?
It is public.
Okay.
It is public.
So that means people are getting comfortable using the apps and not minding other persons knowing.
No. I mean, and like I said, the world has evolved. There are a lot of things that people used to do in secret. And right now, people are very open to these things now. People are open to dating apps now. Because at the end of the day, there are a lot of people that are sad and depressed because they are single. So not only the fact that we're solving a problem of connecting people, but we're also solving a problem of depression. A lot of people are depressed because they're single. And people do not care now. They're putting themselves out there. You know, even very HNIs, like high net worth individuals, they reach out to us and they're open to being on these platforms. Why? Because they know that to get a different result, you have to try something different. And that's why they're very open to it. You know, they could be on a private platform on the app where you can be private, But as long as they're on the app, they know that they can meet people. They stand a better chance of meeting people.
I would like to give us a picture of the kind of engagements behind the scene or back-end engagements you usually have with your clients, from the meeting point. Do you visit them? Do you attend their weddings? Do you organize counseling or classes for them? The kind of behind-the-scene engagements that you often have with your clients.
Weddings, yes, we do. We attend their weddings if they invite us. So we just don't go for any wedding. We went for one last month. Like some of my staff, they went for. They go for some. So we attend weddings once we get invited. But we also even contribute to, maybe the cake or whatever they want us to do, maybe a photographer or anything. So we just try as much, because we're always happy. Because what we do, we know that we're adding value, apart from the fact we're growing a business. But so it always delights me as a founder that, this guy's met on my platform. And, so that's why we always reach out to them and tell them, do you know what, let us do something to support your wedding, support your union. So we do that a lot. And also for the people that want to do counseling with us, we'll always come to the office and have conversations with me or the other counselors in the office on steps they need to take. If it's financial goals and all that, they need to take all those steps. Because yes, people tend to fall in love, but also finance is very important in relationships. And that's why I always get to tell them. So even me as a person, as a founder, I try as much as possible, not only the fact that they met on my platform, but how I can even help them to make sure that relationship stays solid. And, so it's not just only about matching them, but it's also about how I can even help them.
Does your service require you following up, visiting them? And then I'd like to know your oldest clients, how is the relationship of the marriage?
Well, my service doesn't require me following up on them. If they reach out to us, yes. Imagine me following up on 70-something couples. It's a lot, but they reach out to us when they need our maybe advice on certain things. And you said it was one other thing.
Is to your oldest couple or your client to even ensure they are still together.
No, they're in their 40s, late 40s actually.
No, like how many years have they been together?
No, about 3 years.
Okay.
True father is just about 5 years old.
Okay.
So it's about just 3 years.
So we've talked a lot about how well it's going for your app and even the online dating industry. Let's look at the challenges and the limitations.
There are always limitations now, but we always rise above those limitations. I think the first would be, when we started, it was constant tweaking, constant fixing. And it's like that on all boards. Like when you want to build an app, you need to keep fixing. So the thing about what we did was that there's this thing that Elon Musk used to do when he was founder of PayPal. He said that he used to block out all the negative reviews and just kept fixing each problem. And that's what we did when we started the platform. There were a lot of bugs. We used to wake up in the middle of the night to respond to messages. So it was just so many things then. So we worked on getting feedback and fixing those problems immediately. And that's why we're able to eliminate the bugs, eliminate everything on the platform. That's why it's smooth and sticky now. So that was a major issue then when we started. That was like a major issue. Just having to make sure that the app was stable. And after a couple of months it became stable, and right now we're growing organically, even more than we pay for adverts. And that's why I say when your app is sticky means that you have more users going on the platform and sharing with their friends. That makes you have a product market fit. When you have a market fit, it shows that even your organic subscribers are even more than your paying subscribers. So that's when we realized, it's more stable and it's growing organically. So that was a problem I had at first, but we've eliminated that.
What about age requirement? Is there a cap on it? Like you can't be less than this age, you can be more than this age to be a user?
Well, anything less, 18 and above. If you're 90, you can be on the platform as long as you can use it. If you're 90 and you're still looking for love, yeah, that's fine. Everybody has their own preferences, right? So, well, you can't be less than 18.
From your experience, what are some of the common mistakes or errors being made by people coming on those platforms, those who want to engage in dating on those platforms? Talk to us.
The major mistake that people make, they're impatient. A lot of people would go on a dating app, and well, some people would go on a dating, and notice that it's it occurs a lot. They'll go on a dating app for the first 5 minutes. Oh, I don't want to be on the app again. I say, why? Because I've not seen the person I like. I said, do you know there are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people on this platform, and because you've swiped 10 times, you've already given up. You know, so it happens so many times. And I always tell people, if you're going to an event, even to meet someone, hoping that you would meet someone, would you turn back at the entrance when you just see like few people and say, okay, let me enter my car and go? No, you go inside to get to meet more people. And that's why I tell them, there's no how you would be on this platform and you are deliberate and consistent and you not meet someone. So that is what I've noticed about, I don't know if it's Nigerians or people, but some of them are very impatient when it comes to finding love.
There have been some kinds of allegations about dating apps that sometimes it could be some bias, it could be gender bias, it could be racial bias, that some people of a certain demographic seem to get more preference or the algorithm favors them more. Does this happen?
Yeah, it favors everybody.
So why does this kind of perception come? What do you think gives people that perception that the algorithm favors some demographic more than others?
Well, I feel that it's how the way you dress, that's the way you'll be addressed. If you go there, if you put up your picture without a shirt, it might be a turn off to a lot of people. And I always tell people that you need to put your best foot forward on the platform. If you're on the platform, you don't have a complete profile, and you don't get messages from people. He says sending messages, or why I've not been getting messages from people. I say, yeah, because I look at your profile, you have a picture with you maybe in your bedroom with your bare chest. It is going to be a turn off for a lot of people. So that's what happens most of the time when people are not getting the right people. It's because they're not presenting themselves well on the platform. If you present yourself well, you dress well, you take good pictures, just like Instagram, right? People get more followers or more likes because of the kind of pictures they put out there. It's the same way with dating apps. If you dress well, you look the part, then you get more matches.
For you as the owner of the platform or the app, how do you attract followership, attract attention? And what would be the selling point, what stands you out from other app owners? You talked about the Egyptian one that had to leave for certain reasons and then has to be acquired by another person. So how do you stay competitive, and then what will stand you out? Because it's a space that is competitive, and you have many options available.
Point of correction, please. The Egyptian app that exited, they didn't exit because they had a bad run. They exited because they had a good run.
Okay.
And someone bigger acquired them. It's just like
so it was a case of
Stripe
acquisition, yeah.
Acquiring Paystack.
Yeah, okay.
Those guys cashed out and they moved on with their lives. So those dating app guys, they moved on with their lives because they had made a profit, their investors had made a profit, and they all moved on to new things. Right. So I just wanted to just correct
it's
that.
Good.
Yeah.
Back to the question now.
So the question is, what makes us different? First of all, we're the first dating app to have the audio bio feature. You can listen to what someone sounds like. You can check someone's profile. It gives you a better understanding of who, especially in Africa where you have different social backgrounds. You can actually listen to what someone sounds like and actually have it like a slight understanding of who the person is before sending the person a friend request. But also, you can actually send voice introductions. We're also the first dating app that sends voice introductions to people. So instead of just typing a like, you can actually send a voice message and introducing yourself to that person. Third thing, if you're anywhere in the world and you're Nigerian or Kenyan or South African, if like for instance you're a Nigerian in Dubai, you can see how you only want to see Nigerians there. You can streamline it. We're only dating app that does that too. Fourth of all, we're a dating app for Africans, in Africa and in the diaspora. So that's our value proposition as a company. So for Africans in Africa and in the diaspora. So that's what makes us different. You know, in America, you can see, oh, African or black dating apps or that, but we're for Africans. And we're the first dating app for Africans in Africa and the diaspora. Apart from those other things that I mentioned again regarding our use case.
Now, the market is the global online dating industry is projected to grow by 15% by 2030. What are the things that you think will grow the market, particularly in Africa? What needs to happen to even get to that growth or surpass it?
First of all, it's like I said, there are more dating apps coming to Africa, like foreign-owned dating apps, and that's why they acquired, instead of coming, they acquired an Egyptian dating app to expand. So there's more expansion. They're going to India now, they're going to other places, and now they're coming to Africa now. In terms of expansion, in a couple of years, there's going to be a larger presence of foreign dating apps in Africa, trying to compete in this market. Because at the end of the day, is trying to get the best number of people on their own platform. So there's going to be more. They've done India, because we heard like a couple of dating apps trying to have a tussle in India over the population. Because right now they know that Africa is big in terms of population, and right now we're getting open to using dating apps, so they're coming here. So we know that in the next couple of years there's going to be more demand for it, and there's going to be more dating apps in Africa catering to those problems. So definitely it's going to be larger in a couple of years.
For someone who wants to go into this kind of business, what kind of skills, expertise, technical requirement, and then the kind of team that will be required to pursue this kind of goal?
First of all, I always tell people, don't go into a dating app if you just want to make money. You need to be very passionate about it, about what you do. Because at the end of the day, if you're not passionate, you're going to get into some challenges that you might just walk away. So when we first started, we had challenges, right? But because of who I am as a person, I dug deep. I even bootstrapped to get to where I am now. So it takes a lot of... So people have tried it in the past few years, and they've not lasted 2-3 months. Why? Because they face a couple of challenges, and they just say, okay, let me move on and let me start something new. So first of all, it should be your passion, what you have, your passion that you have for what you're doing. Second of all, the team is very important. And I always tell people, my most valuable asset would be my team, my technical team, because they are the people that keep challenging me. We sit down, we have conversations. They could say, oh, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And most of the time, 95% of the time, they're always right in terms of their input. And I would, like, for me as a founder, I always give people, I always tell them to challenge me on certain things, certain things in terms of growth and in terms of technology. So the team is actually very important. The team, and also the vision of the company. How do you want to position yourself? Brand positioning is very important. It's very important, or else you just be like every other person. How are you positioning your brand? How are you branding your company? How are you projecting yourself? So the team is important, yeah. The team, the branding, and your passion for what you're doing is very important.
So as a user, what are the things to watch out for when you want to sign up to a dating app? What should be the things you look out for? What should serve as a red flag for you to know this is not a place to be? Your security will be more compromised in a place like that.
Well, should I say UI UX? It depends on you. You know if a company has spent money on the app itself, that already shows how vulnerable they could be. Like for companies, if you get on a platform and you say that this doesn't look international standard, it doesn't look the part, then that's the #1 red flag. Because if they cannot even spend money on the UI UX to make it look good, that means they must have. You don't think they would have spent money on the security and all those other things to be able to protect the users. So those things actually really matter. It's just like you going to see a jalopy and knowing what you may get into. Just get into the jalopy, things can happen. But when you can see the outside appearance, you can see that, okay, there might be issues. So that should be a red flag for users.
Give us insight into the regional breakdown of your followership. Do you, like for instance in Nigeria, do you have more people from a particular region than the other? And then what's so peculiar about that region that is causing most of attraction?
So we have, most of our subscribers are, so this is, first of all, let me break it down. 80% of our subscribers are Nigerians in Nigeria. 20% are Africans in the diaspora. But if I tell you the statistics, it's very funny. The revenue from the 20% is more than the revenue from the 80% in Nigeria. The revenue we get from that. So that's the statistics for that. But also, in terms of organic growth, we've seen a lot of people coming from Abuja, a lot of people coming from Jos and Kaduna.
Interesting. Kaduna.
Yeah, we've had marriages in Kaduna, Jos, and Abuja. So we've noticed that there are a lot of organic growth there, coming from there. And I think one of the reasons we should be, when someone gets married on the platform from a certain region, they share with their friends. They tell their pastors in church. And those people share with their congregation. Because there's someone that reached out to me from Abuja and told me that, oh, she told her pastor she met her husband. The man couldn't believe. And she told all this congregation to go and download the platform, the app. So it tends to have organic growth from those places that I mentioned, and it's been growing since then.
Let's look at the payments. For some apps, you can only pay using the dollar, and there are only very few maybe payment platforms that they make use of. For yours, for instance, how flexible is it for people to actually pay from wherever they are and just use different payment
It's very flexible, very flexible. We use Flutterwave. Flutterwave, they're the most reliable payment platform in Nigeria. And for abroad, we use Apple Pay, we use Google Pay. So they're all integrated with the phone. So it's something that most of them already use abroad. So they already have their cards integrated with it. So it's very seamless and very easy for them to make payments.
Okay, let me ask about something you talked about. You said the 20%, you get more revenue from the 20% than from the 80%. Why? Yeah. Is it a difference in fee or in terms of usage?
Higher purchasing power, actually. The higher purchasing power outside. In Nigeria, yes, I mean, people pay for subscriptions. But even there are other parts of Africa that people pay higher. They tend to pay online more than Nigerians. Like for instance, South Africans, Kenyans, they use, even market women in Kenya, they use M-Pesa to make payments or make transfers, market women. So that's how easy it is for people outside to make payments. But for here in Nigeria, it's good, but it's not as big as those other places. People tend to spend more already outside Nigeria on certain things, like dating apps. Like for instance now, someone from America could just pay for 1 year, while someone in Nigeria could just pay for a month. So there's a higher purchasing power outside Nigeria.
As we wrap up, what's your counsel to this conservative set of people who still don't believe in there's the viability of dating app? Let me use the word the old school or the conservative type who do not feel it's necessary to go on such app, to look for partners.
I'll say one thing. It's funny that a lot of people, because I've experienced it so much, there are a lot of people in their 40s that are single that are now getting deliberate to look for love. The older you get, the harder it is. Now that you're younger, anybody listening to me, now that you're younger, you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s, be more deliberate. Be more deliberate in regards to finding love. And that is why I always tell people, try new things. There's nothing, my wife downloaded my app for 2 months. She didn't use it until when she signed up. She had it on her phone and she met me. And my wife is super conservative. She doesn't even have a Facebook account. That's how conservative she is. Never had in her life. But she tried something new and she met me. That's the same way there's so many people out there trying to meet you, but you're waiting and sitting down on your couch and waiting for miracles to happen. Faith without works is dead. So to find a partner, you need to act. And to act, you need to do something different. So I always still advise people, try a dating app. It doesn't hurt. You're in your house, you're at work, you can check your phone, you can chat with anybody on the platform. Because everything doesn't cut it on Instagram. Because people are there for different reasons, right? You're not there to shop or there to watch news or listen to gossip or all that. But the dating app is for a different purpose alone. It's for dating. And once you're on that platform, you know that people that will reach out to you are actually maybe serious-minded people, and you can start something fresh with them. So yes, my advice is start something new.
What a way to wrap it up. Start something new, and it's a new one that we had to talk about online dating. As mundane as you may have thought initially that it is, but now you've seen how wide it is, the contribution to global economy, and how it's connecting people, filling vacuums, and helping form families, because marriages do happen, weddings happen, and that's how families start. Thank you very much, Dario Olati, the co-founder and CEO of True Flutter Dating App, for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. All right, let's take a quick break and return to look at some other aspects of online dating. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Blessing Aiche, anchor and exchange on Souq News. The beautiful season is here again.
I smell Christmas.
Ta-da! It's Christmas.
Christmas is a holiday where we celebrate the birth of Christ. It is a super celebration where we share love and many cheers.
Christmas, a time to make merry and show love.
Spend time. Go out there and spend time with your family and friends and loved ones. I mean, you don't get to stay with that.
I can't wait to have my plate of rice and chicken. I'm Adesiwa Iramasele. I'm a presenter and anchor right here on Souq News.
I am Osama Zaida Hosa, Femi Watch Limited owner of Souq News and Watch Radio. Wishing you a very wonderful Christmas. Christmas represent the incarnation of God, becoming man and showing us the greatest of love. It's a season to love one another. Show love to a brother out there and let the love move around.
On social media, many Nigerian young companies were celebrating, wow, we raised Series C, we raised Series D. And anytime they raised these monies, everybody hailed them. But what was behind it? What is behind every raise is that the entrepreneur founder is diluted significantly. We had a very interesting session, and in one of the sessions, there was a role play about a case study on CWG PLC, which is a company that I founded. And the case was written by Columbia Business School to discuss a point about venturing, about entrepreneurship, and about funding for the enterprise. And the case ended on the question, should Austin Okere take the venture capital investment or should he reject it? Just a little bit of background. So this is a company, CWG, in 2005 that was doing very well. It was riding on the back of the Y2K that just happened at the turn of the century, was riding on the back of the telecom boom that happened immediately after the civilian government of OBJ and GSM was launched, was riding on the back of the bank consolidation in 2005 that was done by Governor Soludo. And in each of these booms, CWG had positioned and taken good advantage. So this is not a company that was in dire need of cash or was desperate in 2005. But we had a plan to list our shares on the stock market, and we thought that the best way to do it was to first do either a private placement or, better still, to do a venture capital fundraise so that they will bring discipline into our operations, governance, strengthen our governance, and of course, bring more technical knowledge. And if people saw that this company was invested in you, probably it will make the listing on the stock exchange more attractive. The issue here is at what price? And I remember that I've discussed something similar on this on social media, where many Nigerian young companies were celebrating, wow, we raised Series C, we raised Series D. And anytime they raised these monies, everybody hailed them. But what was behind it? What is behind every raise is that the entrepreneur founder is diluted significantly. So if I use CWG as a case study, the case that was written by Columbia was that there was an offer of $8 million for 25% of the company, putting the valuation post at $32 million. Make no mistake, the Treasury bill's interest rate is 15% sometimes. Now, if someone is going to bring his money to invest in your company, he's looking for way more than that 15%, given that there's a high risk that his money will not come back. And the rule of thumb is that they're looking for 3 times what they brought in within 5 years. So in our case, they were going to be asking for $24 million within 5 years, or you list and give them a liquidity event or an exit. You have to check very well that this $8 million that you're taking in, you can do business in such a way that the value of the company can cough out $24 million in 5 years, regardless of exchange loss. Here is where it gets complicated. So you receive $8 million, which is converted to you in Naira. 2005 probably was about 130. Now, whether the Naira suffers devaluation or not, you're going to pay that $8 million. Now, paying $8 million, 5 years later, where the Naira is maybe 250 or 260, whilst you are generating your revenue in Naira, becomes almost impossible. And if the venture capital firm then has to take assets because you can't pay, he will end up owning, of course, a big chunk of your company, nothing at all. You begin to look like a management staff in the company you founded. So in our own case, we held out and we didn't take the money. And in 2009, when we took a subsequent one, the company was valued at $55 million, plus that there'd been an exchange loss. So the company was valued much more than the $32 million, and plus the fact that in Naira terms, they would have owned more of our company. My point being, don't sell your seed. Rather, till your seeds, let it grow into a fruit, and sell at the fruit, because the fruit is plentiful. A lot of our startups rush out to sell their seed, and they sell it cheap. To complete that story, we actually then listed the company in 2013 for $90 million. Now, I did a rough calculation. If we were in dire need of money and we borrowed $8 million at an interest rate of 20%, at that time, Naira, we'll be returning Naira money, and we'll be returning something like, even if you take 100%, we'll be returning another $8 million in 5 years' time. But given that the company's valuation had gone to $55 million in that time, 2009, when the second PE company invested, we would have been better off taking the debt, because we'll be returning an extra $8 million, rather than 8 times 3, which is 24, that would have had to give $24 million that would have had to pay the VC company if we had taken the money at that time. So the delta is huge in terms of debt versus equity. So the point is, at some point in time, equity seems cheap, deceptively, but debt is cheaper. Especially at the early stages, what you have is a seed. You don't sell your seed. Have patience, hone it, bootstrap it, take debt to finance specific deals, makes you disciplined, and then when you have your fruit, you can then invite investors to come, and you make more, and you don't lose a huge percentage of your company. You actually do still own a huge percentage of your company. Be patient. Don't rush out to collect funds and celebrate it. You will have to pay back. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome to Early Exchange with Blessing H.A., Femi Ayodele, Sam Oruboje, and Idahosa Osamanze.
It's a national orientation agency. is, as far as I'm concerned, very idle and unprofessional.
If government says that subsidy is not in oil and government is not supposed to be paying subsidy in oil,
energy or whatever kind of oil-based solution we will be looking at.
Today we are conducting mining today. Solid minerals, as an example, is, in no disrespect to anybody, is abysmal. We definitely need improvements in those areas. Of course, there are infrastructural needs.
This is Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
Many thanks for staying with us on Early Exchange. We're still looking at online dating. People are now taking their destinies in their own hands and being intentional about finding love, not leaving it to chance to say, okay, I might meet someone nice, I might meet the lady of my dreams or my Prince Charming. They go all out now to sign on to dating apps and trying to find your Prince Charming or the missing rape, as the case may go. Now, with us this morning is a broadcaster and, of course, a podcaster. She's actually a relationship podcaster, someone who talks a whole lot about relationship and have people share their experience with her as it concerns relationship. I'm talking about Alfreda Ambe Bassi. Not a Fraser, right? Good morning, Alfreda. Good to see you.
Good morning, Blessing. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so we want to know, Femina and other persons who are watching, the reason for stigma associated with people trying to find love online. We had with us earlier on Dari, who's a co-founder for dating app, talk about some of the misconceptions, people feeling like when they sign onto a dating app, it means that they are desperate. Why do you think society attaches that kind of stigma to people trying to find love online, particularly ladies?
Okay, so you know that the dating app has a lot of people, like different kinds of people, and society and like individuals generally, there's so many options, all right? There's a lot of options out there, and it's just scary, you know, when you have fraudsters there, you have people who are married and they tend to hide their married part, like they are single, and like there's just a whole lot. So it's actually scary, you know. So people feel like meeting people one-on-one, meeting people on a regular basis is better than meeting people on the online space. Do you get?
Yeah, so what about the shaming of people who have thought about how risky it could be, but they try to find safe platforms? But if they come out to say, oh, I met my husband online, or I met my wife online, people tend to look at, you don't have game, or what do you mean? Why would you go to that extent?
Okay, it's funny, you know, I don't know how to put it, but the ladies especially, you know, like now there's
okay, sometimes they just feel like people would look down on them. The guys are just supposed to be rushing. But what about when you're not, by virtue of maybe what you do, you don't come into a lot of people all the time? By the nature of some person's job, maybe you're a scientist, you're a lab scientist, that this is no, I'm not trying to throw any shade at people. By virtue of what you do, maybe you're in the lab for a long time, you're in the office, as an enclosed space, so you don't have the opportunity of meeting so many people all the time. Why do we still have that shaming of such people that even when people successfully get a partner they're looking for online, they hide it? They don't want people to know how they met.
The issue is what we're used to versus what is happening or what's in vogue. You know, it's just a competition between let me put it literally, between old school and new school, competition between what we used to have and the reality now. The reality now is we're in a global village, so everything is about technology. It drives our social life, our religious, every aspect of our life. Social media, the advent of the internet has, you know, crept into that space whereby we see social media, internet as part of life. So an extension to that is the use of dating app. People over time, e-commerce has taken over the conventional kind of marketing or the conventional kind of transaction. So you can go online to order for things, and in a few hours or in a few days you get them. So the confidence is there that, okay, if this could happen, e-transactions, e-commerce, then you can also have e-dating. And that has led to that. So a lot of people are like, okay, if we'll have few examples, like the guest we had earlier, we talked about his own example that he met his own wife. So with few testimonies of the references or the examples you've seen, people can give it a benefit of doubt. And if you try it out, there's something about marketing. The best form of marketing is by referral or reference, making use of your own account to call for more people. Okay, if for instance, I use that app and I discover I could meet my wife, a beautiful one, you know, a good woman, then I'll be in position to say, okay, yes, I'm going to market this platform, invite everybody to try this.
Regardless of what people think about it.
He talked about the success rate earlier, about 70% for that particular app. So if you're recording like 70%, that's huge. And you know the couples who are in this picture could also invite other couple, okay, I've tried this app, I've gone to this platform, I've been able to meet this kind of person. And then the quality of people you meet there as well could also be a point of attraction. So it's a reality in the world we live now. Everything is going online, it's going digital, it's going global. And as a result of that, the kind of conservatism that people have, they are letting it down, they are breaking up because they are having little trust over time. And over time, the trust will grow. Even the conservative type are also like, okay, this is something to go by, then I must try it. And that's exactly what is played out. Interestingly, if age is not also on your side, or you're the busy type, okay, if you're in your 40s, like he said, the older you are, you know, the more you have few chances of meeting the other people. So if you have a pool where you can actually take advantage of where people are there already, Africans, you know, whatever is the color, the size, the shape, you know, the religious background, you have them there, so you can take advantage. So people have that understanding and that, okay, this is like a pool where I can pick one or two persons from, if you are not the polygamy type or the polygamous type. So, but I am happy the fact that there are also the element of control, so that, because the fear of some people is, how am I so sure that this person is actually who he claims or she claims to be? And so, because certain things have been put in place, it's now beginning to impact on people's confidence, the distrust they used to have, the trust deficit that used to, you know, exist, is now being eroded by the fact that the owners of those apps are also putting their considerations into place to ensure that their needs are being met and their fears are being catered for, so that you can have more patronage. And so these are factors that are also responsible for the level of, you know, patronage. And then the fact that people are getting more exposed, you're having more information available, people are getting, you know, you have more people traveling now, you're having that exposure. So you're having that better understanding that, okay, the way it's been done in the Western world, we can also try it here. But by and large, you still have the few, I don't know the percentage, but you still have the class of people who are still conservative, who will still believe, no, I can't try this, I'll just have to do one-on-one interaction. And that you can't take it away.
So let me find out from Afreta briefly, in the course of being a relationship podcaster, what are some of the mistakes that you think people make with relationship that makes it a lot harder to find the right partner, whether you find them online or you find them physically?
Okay, so first of all, people pretend a lot. Deception is actually on the rise these days. You tend to paint a picture, and you are not that person. And another thing is, you know, too many options. People don't know what they want, all right? And there's just so many options out there. And they're like, okay, I want to meet this guy. This guy is a fine guy with beards. This one is fair and tall. This one has all the assets, rather. And you are just there. But people forget to look at character. You know, there's character, and those are the values, those are the things that are very important beyond the container, beyond the outside, you know. So that's...
Okay, let me also ask this. You know, there's a popular celebrity. He has a slogan. Because when you talk about character, that's why I had to bring this. He keeps saying, good girl, no dey pay. So when you talk about character, are people neglecting building character because of some examples that they've seen of how character has not paid people Or is it really that character doesn't pay? Or is people not being wise, thinking they're demonstrating good character? Speak to that.
This one is strong. See, character cannot go out of fashion. Let me use that word. Character is something that always lasts. It's going to last forever. And if you check this generation, my gender most especially, they are just focused on the outside. My gender, you know, they are focused on the outside, you know, trying to patch their make.
They call it packaging.
Thank you, packaging. Trying to make something big, you know, trying to increase, and they forget that, you know, there are things that are basic. They forget to look at skill, you know. Try to brush up your skills, try to brush up your value system and all of that. So they just, in fact, this generation, I'm actually scared because with time, people are going to keep meeting wrong people and there's going to be a lot of marriage crash in coming years if people are not focused on the important things.
So I guess what she was saying now. So you may have the character, like you may be nice, you may be humble, but you don't have the right skill to attract the right people. You may just be a person who's maybe very reserved, you're not loquacious, but the other things that should be that thing that attracts people to you, you don't have it. So maybe that's what the celeb means by good girl, know the piece. So it's not just by character alone. There are things that should complement your character.
The issue here is you have the content versus the container.
Okay.
So in our climb, or with the examples we've had, we've come to a time where people look more at the container rather than the content. That's where packaging comes in. Now, for instance, if you want to give anybody a job, you look at the appearance. He's putting on suit, he speaks good English, the appearance within that 5 minutes of interview. But to sustain that job, it takes the character of that person. And so that informs how we relate with people, our perception about people, how we judge people. So you're looking at the physical things. Oh, the guy is handsome, he's tall, you know, he's gap-toothed, and all those things. He's rich, and all. Those are physical. They are quite good, but you need to go further to look at the content. Who is the persona, the personality of this person? Who is he? Beyond the glam, beyond the celeb, beyond the public. Okay, he's a broadcaster, he's on TV, but behind the scene, who is he? That's the point. You like the celeb. When you're married to them, you think, oh, okay, because of the glam around there and your life, you always have this fake assumption that you'll be happy because he's a celeb, he's rich, he has the money. But behind the scene, who is this person? What's his philosophy about life? So most of the time, because I'm sorry to use it, but we're not detailed people. We don't have that patience to date for a while. You want to date for 3 months, 6 months, and you get it right. No, even if you're married for 10 years, your partner keep evolving because people change over time.
I like that.
Yeah.
Evolving. And I think that is what we don't understand as human beings, that we all evolve.
Yeah.
So people think that as you've been, for instance, as I've known you today, that's the way you should be. So when you're evolving, they see it as you're changing and they don't want to evolve as well, then a problem comes.
No, the evolving thing is peculiar to human nature. For instance, if I have let's say my first qualification is SSC, you know, that's my first qualification, or OND. Now I have opportunity to travel out to do my master's, my PhD. So what that means with the level of that exposure, my taste will change. My perception about life, because of the people I've met or the kind of class of people that I've been mingling with, everything about me changes.
Everything.
Let's assume I'm a poor guy now. That could happen. And then somehow I hit jackpot.
Money comes in.
Money comes in. I'm a millionaire. I can have something will change.
Your taste will change.
It will change. So people need to understand is that people will grow, and your taste, what you like today, might be your dislike tomorrow. For instance, you might not like putting on certain kind of dresses, but because you can now afford them, you keep changing, you keep evolving. So let's give them for that kind of understanding. But we always feel you've met somebody, you know the person. That's how the person is. People grow over, they get better or worse, depending on the personality. So the problem with the issue of dating is people are always in a hurry. That's why I always advise people, date when you know age is on your side. When you're crossing 30, 40 as a lady, you're always in a, in fact, the pressure from home Your mother will keep singing the song, oh my daughter, oh my daughter. Because if I want you between 25 and 30 as a lady, the pressure on you, it could be like say village people gather for you. You understand? So, but as a man, same thing. In fact, when you now cross 40, single ladies won't believe you as a guy because they will assume you must have experimented with a lot of ladies. For you at the age of 40, you're not married. Oh, the chances for you are so slim. And that's why people go on those platforms to look for help. In fact, you'll be surprised that when you go on those platforms, check the age bracket, you see more of older people because they are mature now, they know better. Perhaps while they were younger, they were experimenting.
Exactly.
Some guys who ought to have been the husband, they turned them to boyfriends and they were like, okay, but now I have everything.
Now they know what they want.
You have your masters, you have your PhD. I met a lady who told me, I won't get married until I have my PhD. And I said, wow, why are you wasting your time? By the time you're done with your PhD, you are 30-something in this climb. Because for you to get masters, you need like 2 sessions. That is if ASU has not happened to you or ASU strike. And then you do your PhD. Thank God if you have a good supervisor who won't turn you to a laborer for 3 or 4 years before you acquire your PhD. Merge that with the time you spend in university. You're supposed to do a 4-year course. It will turn to 7 years.
Maybe you even need to have a good job to fund it.
I was supposed to spend 4 years in the university. I ended up spending 7 years.
Wow. You almost did 2 sessions.
So add that to that, to your age.
The graduate.
By the time you are done, the guy will have gone. Or the lady will have gone.
Yeah,
so there's always the right time to do the right thing.
Yeah, I also think that while online dating has come to fill a gap, throw you into an ocean where you get to find more people. People sometimes forget that the same issues that you'll have to deal with when meeting people physically, you will deal with those same issues. Exactly. Now, let me get back to the character thing and then the packaging thing as well. You remember that Dari talked about some persons complaining that, oh, they've been on the app for quite a while, people are not chatting them up as much as they expected, and he takes them back to their bio. What does your bio say? What does your picture look like? You don't look like an interesting person. The same thing in your physical life. People may be seeing you, but they're not attracted to connect with you because you don't look like you're an interesting person. For some persons, if you can't keep up a conversation for more than 10 minutes, it's a turn off already. You may have the right character, but you don't have the content enough. So one thing is not enough for you to even bring people to you and keep them. Yes, you need to bring people to you, but how do you retain them? Same thing goes to the online dating. For the app that we had the co-founder as a first guest talking to us, they've had at least 70% success rate. So that means for the other 30%, for instance, some persons may have even been signed onto the app from the very first day it was launched and have not found who they're looking for a lot of reasons. It could also be some of these things. Do you understand that people evolve? Now you get to meet the person, you were just enthralled by the voice, how they sound, how they look, the charisma. And then you start hanging out with the person, you feel like, oh, this person is changing, you're not the same person I used to know. But do you understand that within that process of time, it could even be a 1-month period, maybe something significant has happened in their life that changed them? Are you understanding that part? Are you wanting to change with them as well? So these are some of the things that I think people need to understand, so that wherever you are, whether you're trying to find love online or you're trying to find it physically, you understand these things, that it's not enough for you to be thrown into an ocean. How do you swim? Do you have the skills to be able to swim and get to your destination?
People must also realize that you don't need to marry everyone you fall in love with. That's where the challenge. You might like people. Admiration is general. You like people.
Yes,
people are just in your life for certain reasons. For friendship, to be of help, to be of value. You don't have to marry everyone you fall in love with. In fact, the funny thing is subjective, but that's the challenge. Make people your friends. In the course of having friends, you will know who will be your partner. Have friends, friendship, and be open-minded.
All right.
And then also to speak to unrealistic expectations.
That's too much.
That's also.
We already have this person. We already have a picture of this kind of person in our head. And so when you meet certain people, you're like, it's not up to that standard. But it's an unrealistic expectation. I feel like we should make room for people. Do you get? Just give room for other things, because people change. You don't you can meet somebody and you feel like, okay, I've known this person for 5 years, but you don't know the person. Because even couples that are married for 50 years, they still see new things every day. So let's drop the unrealistic expectations and just give room, allow people to be themselves.
I have a reference to that. You know, there was a lady who was saying, I would love to marry a comedian. Our expectation is getting married to a comedian.
Someone that makes her laugh.
You get.
You know, but comedians too, they are dealing with depression.
True. Yeah.
They are having issues.
In fact, it's a job that you just have to do.
Don't let us go this route.
I wish we had more time to talk about all of this, but it's just so you know that since online dating app, there are several online dating apps, but you need to have the right skills to maximize them and to get the benefit that you want, which is love, finding that partner, finding that companion that you actually need. Now, Trix is doing this for me and telling me, hey, we need to run. I have put on the jersey and the race is about to start. Where he intends to run to, I do not know. Maybe Juvie can tell us as the show starts. That means we're taking you over to Sportsville for the sport guys to bring you up to speed on current happenings in the world of sports. Now, they may bash a little at your team, but forgive them is what happens in the world of sport. Be a sportsman and receive it with, oral sportsmanship. Let's take you over now to Sportsville. Hi, I'm Blessing Aiche, anchor and exchange on Souq News. The beautiful season is here again.
I smell Christmas.
Ta-da! It's Christmas.
Christmas is a holiday where we celebrate the birth of Christ. It is a super celebration where we share love and many cheers.
Christmas, a time to make merry and show love. Spend time. Go out there and spend time with your family and friends and loved ones. I mean, you don't get to do that.
I can't wait to have my plate of rice and chicken. I'm Adesiwa Iramasele. I'm a presenter and anchor right here on Souq News.
I am Osama Dahosa, Femi Watch Limited owner of Souq News and Watch Radio. Wishing you a very wonderful Christmas. Christmas represent the incarnation of God, becoming man and showing us the greatest of love. It's a season to love one another. Show love to a brother out there and let the love move around.
My name is Dr. Rafiu Oladipo.
My name is Baba Jalal Repega.
I'm Reverend Juliet Benite.
I'm Godio Didi.
My name is Professor Oladokun Sulaiman Olarawaju.
Souq News is on the ground, loading.
Very enlightening, very educative, and entertaining.
Thank you to Souq News.
So I'm happy that Souq TV has come into existence.
I'm happy to be here in the Souq News.
I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and keep watching news that makes sense.
As Browning said, one's extension of one's reach should not exceed one's grasp, or what is heaven for. And I think Souq News is doing that.
Africa needs a voice of truth, and Souq News has become one of them. And get ready, get ready, get ready.
And keep watching.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. It's a place to be.
Keep watching.
Hi, I'm Blessing Aiche, anchor and exchange on Souq News. The beautiful season is here again.
I smell Christmas.
Ta-da! It's Christmas.
Christmas is a holiday where we celebrate the birth of Christ. It is a super celebration where we share love and many cheers.
Christmas, a time to make merry and show love. Spend time. Go out there and spend time with your family and friends and loved ones. I mean, you don't get to do that.
I can't wait to have my plate of rice and chicken. I'm Adesiwa Iramasele. I'm a presenter and anchor right here on Souq News.
I am Osama Dahosa, Femi Watch Limited owner of Souq News and Watch Radio. Wishing you a very wonderful Christmas. Christmas represent the incarnation of God, becoming man and showing us the greatest of love. It's a season to love one another. Show love to your brother out there and let the love move around.
Good morning and welcome to Early Exchange with Blessing H.A., Femi Ayodele, Sam Oruboje, and Idahosa Osamanze.
It's a national orientation agency. It's, as far as I'm concerned, very idle and unprofessional.
If government says that subsidy is not in oil and government is not supposed to be paying subsidy in oil,
energy or whatever kind of off-grid solution we will be looking at.
Today we are conducting mining today. Solid minerals, as an example, is, in no disrespect to anybody, is abysmal. We definitely need improvements in those areas. Of course, there are infrastructural needs.
This is Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
Hello, glad to have you join us for another exciting, thrilling and sizzling edition of Sports View on Early Exchange. You're not the girl I used to know. I hope you haven't changed, man. We've been talking about dating, and I have with me on the show today one of your very own. I know you miss him. The ladies would have missed this fine young man. Charlie, what's up with you,
man? It's good to be back. It's good to be back. It's good to be back.
All right, now it is Ajuvi, and the show is Sports View, where we take you through what's happening, UFC, MotoGP, tennis, PGA Tour, and everything happening, EPL, everything in between. So stuff have been happening. Someone just collected some 3-2 recently. Charlie will let you into that. So today was starting from La Liga. Yeah, Girona was few hours ago top of the table, but something happened and something happened. So tell us about it. What happened, man? Real Madrid.
Well, let's not say Real Madrid happened.
Oh, I forgot. That is your club.
Let's not say Real Madrid happened. The inevitable happened. Because when you see Girona, we know that where they finished last season. They finished 10th. Well, kudos to them. They have been able to gather more points than they did the whole of last season. Competing with likes of Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, and Real Madrid for the top 4 spots in La Liga is a big task. And we have seen clubs come and they will not be able to sustain it. But it's kudos to them. But we just knew it's a matter of time before they dethrone and the real positions takers come and take the position.
Because you guys are managing right now.
Well, are we managing? We are firing off cylinders.
Firing.
Maybe the goals are not coming as you expect, but I always expect a win. When we go out there, I always expect a win.
Just
regardless.
1-0. How many 0 now?
It's not about how
1-0.
It's about the 3
Real
points.
Madrid.
It's about the 3 points.
The dread. You were playing Deportivo.
Well, you can't write off any opponent. You can't write off any opponent.
This is Real Madrid we're talking of.
Well, they are giants. They struggle. Even the giants struggle. Come on, give it to us. Back at the top of the La Liga standing, Real Madrid, we are coming to take the title.
What happened to Barcelona is doing good, but something happened to them. Just some few.
Well, going to Club America or playing Club America and losing, I mean, it really speaks about
Wasn't that supposed to be
the transition.
A friendly?
It is a friendly, regardless, but it's Barcelona.
So probably they just decided to just wing it and just
And it's peculiar with Barcelona when it comes to Christmas. They always dwindle. They always. It's peculiar to them because when the Christmas period, I think their heads are always in the cloud. They are thinking about the Christmas and they are thinking about the break. But they no longer focus on the match because it's peculiar with Barcelona. Like I said before, anytime it's Christmas, their performance just drops.
Don't you think these guys just want to rest and unwind for the time being? They are planning on something bigger. Champions League is around the corner. They want to top the table. This is just a friendly.
Yeah, it's just a friendly, but like they say, every match is important because it will come up on the records and say you played Club America and you lost. The record is there. It's there forever.
Okay.
All right. So that's just
Maloka trumping this time is 3 Kondo Osasuna. I like the word Kondo.
Well, I wouldn't like to say trumping. I would say it's a 5-goal thriller, but the stronger team or the lucky team took it, because if you see their late goal, it was a late goal, and you can't write off what's it called, Osasuna, because they fought for the
the record says it's 3 Kondo.
Yeah, okay. Juvi, you still explain Kondo.
And Liverpool never working alone.
Never.
Could you call that a trumping or pulverization or black and blue and white and black?
Well, I just feel like it's a statement, you know. When we were in the winter transfer windows, and they lost a ton of players that were instrumental in their 30-year drought, ending their 30-year drought. And you can see the transition of the players that went out. When you check the caliber of players that went out and the ones that came in, you would say, I would be the first person to say that Liverpool would struggle this season, but they've proven me wrong, because the players that came in, my God, the likes of Szoboszlai, McAllister, coming, and they are also proving me wrong again, because look at the kind of goals that Szoboszlai scores. He doesn't score a tap-in like we say, he scores rockets, and it just gives me joy when you see a player come out from way out.
Range, I mean, not just...
Yeah, it wasn't just the traditional Salah cutting from the left.
Salah also had another chance, and it was before the goal.
And it's beautiful. It's beautiful for the game, because you have more options for goals rather than just depend on the one-man army. Salah. If Salah doesn't come up with the goals, then you'll be looking for Alexander. What's his name? Trent.
Shouldn't we be giving the flowers to Klopp?
Well, Klopp, he has proven himself with Borussia Dortmund and, you know, in the Bundesliga. So yes, kudos to Klopp, because his signings are always top notch, and also his signings are always players that prove themselves against his club in the Champions League or the Europa.
I think he's got eye for that as well. Yeah. I heard that conversation, man.
Because McAllister gave him a lot of trouble when they played Brighton last season, and he signed the lad. Who else? Szoboszlai, Diaz. The list goes on.
So I think, don't you think it's more of he's not proud, so you can say, man, if this guy has got talent, I don't mind bringing him.
Yeah, it's that too, and also speaks to his development of these players. Look at the youth players. You have Harvey Elliott, you have those Kwanzaa. I mean, young talent, they are doing well. I mean, it just goes to speak about the club, the management, the manager, and you know, everybody that he has around him that helps him to, you know, project this team to where they want to be.
We might not be able to say concerning one of our clubs right now, Manchester United.
Well, it's always a tough one for Manchester United. They don't get any respite when it comes to staying out of the media, for the good reason, for the bad reason. There are petitions coming up that Eric Ten Hag should be sacked, but he has done no wrong. It's just the players are not fighting for the manager. Look at De Zerbi and Brighton. Yeah. You have players going out and coming in every season, but they still come and they perform.
I even saw Awoni, thanking his coach.
You
did quite well for us. I mean, bringing us from nowhere into the Premiership and all that. But you know, it's all about the money. If the money isn't coming in, the goals are not coming in, we don't bring you for a fine face. You know, someone like you with a fine face, if you're not producing the results, we ask you out, man, like Cooper. You know how it is. All right, you're on Sports View and we're having fun. It's a pre-Christmas edition. You're not the girl, so please don't go out and date someone you're not sure of, because emotions could run wild and you get used to all this stuff anytime soon. All right, there is a race right now. Chelsea, Barcelona, and I think Man City is also looking at the Australian, the Bosnia guy, Red Bull, Ahmad Dedik.
Well, he's an exciting young talent.
Do you think they should be looking at him?
If you have clubs of this caliber scouting a player, shows that he's an exciting young talent. I might not say I am a fan of him, because he needs to prove himself outside of will I say lower end clubs. He needs to have been able to prove himself maybe in big competitions like the Champions League or the Europa. But when you have scouts and big clubs going after players like this, Yeah, it goes to tell you that he's an exciting young player, and he has potentials, he has prospects, and we're coming around that time in January where there's obviously January transfer, so a lot of news like this will be coming up, a lot of young talents. And I want to also speak to Adingra of Brighton. Yeah. He's a young talent and he's a prospect for the future, even though he's already proven himself in the Premier League, but I feel like he still has a lot of things to do.
For the young man that Chelsea, I don't know what Chelsea, I think the young man has got prospect, but he's plenty energy, the finishing is very important, and I mean, whoever is going to eventually buy should look into walking around those rough edges and all that. And so, before we go, what do you think it will look like after Christmas, running into the New Year EPL, as we call it a wrap? EPL.
We now have a two-way battle. Okay, let's call it a four-way battle. Okay. We have Liverpool, we have Arsenal, we have Manchester City, and we have the newcomers, Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a relatively new position for them. They've been there in the golden era of their club. Yeah. Well, now they have to prove that they have what it takes to compete against the big boys
and stay there.
And stay there. But if they by any sort of miracle they finish they finish Christmas in the top 4, then they have Europe in sight.
You think Everton could get to something close?
Well, Everton at the moment I don't think Everton would qualify for any European competition.
And finally Manchester.
Well, Manchester United will struggle. That one is. But it all depends. It all depends on what they do during the transfer windows. If they can bring in nice and quality players, why not?
And finally, Chelsea, as we call it a wrap. Chelsea.
Well, Chelsea are the big money spenders, So I know Todd Bowley would want to back his manager and try to revamp the team. The outgoings and the incomings will also help Chelsea to get to wherever they finish in. I'm not really a fan of Chelsea or whatever.
Hey, you don't have to be a fan, because you don't have to be a fan.
I just hope they go down.
I don't want to take the axe this time, man. And that is about the size of the package this morning on Sports View. I am Juvi Ofiene, and I've been having a royal ball with my homie
Charles. My name is Charles Jonah. This is nice to.
All right, so that's easy. It's nice as we go for Christmas. Don't forget, early exchange continues in just a moment. Love you.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Blessing Aiche, anchor and exchange on Souq News. The beautiful season is here again.
I smell Christmas.
Ta-da! It's Christmas.
Christmas is a holiday where we celebrate the birth of Christ. It is a super celebration where we share love and many cheers.
Christmas, a time to make merry and show love. Spend time. Go out there and spend time with your family and friends and loved ones. I mean, you don't get to stay with that.
I can't wait to have my plate of rice and chicken. I'm a Desua Iramasele. I'm a presenter and anchor right here on Souq News.
I am Osama Zaidahosa, Femi Watch Limited owner of Souq News and Watch Radio. Wishing you a very wonderful Christmas. Christmas represents the incarnation of God, becoming man and showing us the greatest of love. It's a season to love one another. Show love to a brother out there and let the love move around.
Good morning and welcome to Early Exchange with Blessing Aiche, Femi Ayodele, Sam Oruoje, and Idahosa Osamanze.
It's a national orientation agency. It's, as far as I'm concerned, very idle and unprofessional.
The government says that subsidy is not in oil, and government is not supposed to be paying subsidy in oil.
Energy or whatever kind of off-grid solution we will be looking at.
Today we are conducting mining today. Solid minerals, as an example, is, in no disrespect to anybody, it's abysmal. We definitely need improvements in those areas. Of course, there are infrastructural needs.
This is Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
Yes, as part of shaping policy, we really hope we've been able to shape your personal policy today regarding finding love, how you choose to find love. Remember that the options are open. It's just for you to have an open mind to it and develop the right skills to be able to get the maximum benefit from it. And that's how we conclude today's show on Early Exchange. Not just today's show, the week's series of Early Exchange, because the next time we'll be having this show, it will be on Christmas Day, which is Monday. Thank you so much for being with us. We ask that as you make last-minute preparations towards Christmas, you become security conscious, particularly if you're going to the market. Ensure that you know where your bag is, you know where your phone is, you know where your valuables are, and then you do not do the unnecessary. Remember, January is just a few days away. I am Blessing AHA, and coming up at 10 o'clock is Business Insight with Adesua Eremoselin.
We've been talking about dating, and from me to you, just be yourself. Always be yourself, because you always attract your type. I am Femi Ayodele. Bye for now.